We're not talking
Cheers
about him.
to episode 129.
Cheers.
Bud Light.
Sunny D vodka seltzer, 95 calories, 0 grams of sugar.
I'm just drinking water. I had to slow down this week. I drink 5 days in a row.
Yeah, you drank 5 days in a row, Evan. Don't hurt anybody. You told me
Really?
yesterday.
Post-camping trip, you drink 5 days in a row.
Thursday, Friday,
Cadmus
Saturday,
has been
Sunday,
getting drunk
Monday.
alone every single night.
And you know
Because he's
why?
depressed.
No. Well, this could be why. I wanted to give Evan a minute, whatever you want to say about the Mo Ibrahim news, because it's not
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that, Evan.
I haven't seen it, so I have no idea what you guys are talking about. You get cut?
Cut.
Oh,
got cut. But he
Injury settlement.
with injuries, so I think he's on our IR unless he leaves. I don't know. He's just basically on IR. He got waived because of injury.
And Evan, I mean, he was running at the 5th spot after. Did Benny Snell actually sign with the Lions?
yeah, he did. The day of
I
camp.
haven't seen a single thing about it.
They made a tweet about him.
No, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Did you know Teddy Bridgewater's wearing number 50 though? Did you see that?
Is he?
It's the most
you
annoying thing
serious?
of all time.
Why do
all
people care?
Well, it is
Preseason.
It is wild.
How bad did the Lions look in preseason last Saturday? Well,
We'll get to that, Alex.
I just went. I have
today
one thing I have to mention when it gets to me, though. Don't let me forget.
for your weekly check-in or for the Lions?
No, just for my personal team. They deserve to be shout out for a shout
Your
out
soccer team.
for Dr. Love.
That can be, all right. That can be in your weekly check-in. Tonight is Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. It's 8:10 p.m. Just wrapped up a fantastic interview with the chief of propaganda. Has me buzzing. Feel like thoughts are coming clear in my head that you'll hear later in the show. So we'll have that. That'll be a big chunk. A lot of funny stuff in there. A lot of Michigan State football as well. So maybe when we do defense, we'd do a little bit less Michigan State defense. Although it's hard to do because we love talking ball. But this is going to be a quick hitter show based on I'm trying out news and notes, just boom, things that have happened. We'll fly through them. And then the kind of nitty gritty is going to be that interview. And then a little bit about the Michigan and Michigan State college football defenses. For diehard Lions stuff, we'll do that in the coming weeks, kind of similar for them. A preview since they're a week behind. Without further ado, let's dive into some weekly check-ins. Alex, start us off. What's happened in your life since August 6th was the last time?
Well, I've had a busy 2 weeks. I can't really speak on it.
Right.
I've had a busy 2
Under
weeks.
the table.
Yeah. Also, shout out my mom. She had surgery. She's doing good. I should shout her out. Everybody, round of applause for Carrie for being a tough warrior.
Shop Carrie.
Pep Guardiola under the knife for backs.
Yep. Larry knows how it goes.
He does. He's got the scar.
Evan, hopefully your parents never go through the back surgery route.
If you know anything about my dad, Alex, he probably just won't have it.
I know a lot about your dad.
I'm banking on having at least one in my life.
I'm just going to say no. I'm just going to go through the pain if I have to. I don't think it's worth it.
You already broke yours, so you should be on the other
You
side.
should be good.
But I didn't have surgery. Anyways. Busy week. That happened. And then what I do this weekend. This weekend was the first weekend I had to myself in what feels like a long time. So I didn't do much. I saw Grant and Marissa briefly for about an hour.
Yeah.
Did normal adult stuff, laundry, cleaned up. Felt like I was living in a box for a while. Still had to unpack from the camping trip. I guess that's happened since then. Camping trip was a great time. Probably took me 3 days to recover. I can't speak on one thing. I prefer not to have it public knowledge, but our injuries that some of us suffered. I would just like to report that mine is doing well and recovery.
Mine's scabbed up.
Oh,
Yep, it's fully scabbed and we're looking okay. My leg from falling off the bridge
that's what.
just now bruised. It's fully purple right now. Just came in. So,
I didn't even
That's
check.
what it is.
I didn't check my injury.
I got a bruise. I got a bruise too on my leg. I have no recollection of where it came from on the trip. I've been trying to think, like, did I run into the side of a table? Did I dive and spike ball on the beach too many times?
Looked like they went through a war like the next Monday. I looked down, I'm like, Jesus, dude, what were you doing?
Yeah, I wore long pants for like 3 days at work.
Yeah. Because then when we played golf that Monday, my dad was like, dude, what did you do this weekend? It's like, Dad, I don't know.
You know how the property goes.
But yeah, that was a great time. And then
Fantastic time.
Here we are. I had a very, very good time. Actually, there was one moment that might be a core moment for the rest of my life that I'll never forget.
Can you share?
Yeah, the bros karaoke under the tent on for Friday or Saturday. That was like a peak moment.
Friday.
I think it helped that I had a few, but like there was a point during that where I don't think I've ever laughed that hard in my entire life.
Were we just passing the mic around for different songs?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there were two clear stars of the show.
There were two very clear.
The Joker impression.
The Joker
made me.
That was one of the hardest I've ever laughed in my life.
Just so many moments I've been thinking about, and then like the same person going up to someone later and being like, just sitting down next to someone, nobody wants you here. It's like the thought of that happening. And then Ryan shot him for the grand slam.
I hit a grand slam.
No one's talking about my grand slam.
I think the worst part about all that is like, as I've been thinking a lot about how fun it was, and then I think about like, well, that might have been it. Might be the last one.
Please.
And then you just get really depressed. It's very sad.
I had that number 2 in my camp rankings. The number 2 trip that I've been on.
Yeah, number 1 I don't think can be beaten because it was
just
like
nostalgia. Like it may not have been as hard last, but it was just like I just remember the excitement showing up with Alex the first time, and
we just didn't know what we were doing.
Like we're gonna put our tents over here in Tent Village. Like this is Tent Village. Like it was all brand new, and like we get to be out here for like 3 days, and there's no supervision or anything.
But we were also like 21, 22 years old.
At COVID, like first time out, being locked in your house.
It's hard to beat the first time, but I would say like this time was not far off, in my opinion. I mean, I think it topped the 2. Was that year 4?
This was year 4.
Yeah, it topped the 2 middle years by far, in my opinion.
No,
it's a great trip.
That's all for me.
Evan?
Yeah, we both went on said trip. That was about 2 weeks ago now. Fantastic time. That ride home on Sunday.
Oh my God.
Dude, driving it by yourself just sucks.
Dude, that was the first time I think I've driven alone back. Yeah, it is miserable.
Miserable.
It is. It's like the worst ride of all time. Like 3.5 hours just by. And I also got in so much traffic. I sat in so much traffic on the way back.
You were probably
like
worse.
4 hours.
I didn't have to sit through traffic.
I was at that same.
I think you were like
six. You were 6 cars behind you.
You were. I saw your truck.
Where no one could go left.
I pulled out.
So
I
much
literally
traffic.
at one point I was like, I'm going, and if I get hit, I get hit.
Dude, I was at that stop sign for the first car. I was there for 10 minutes, and then I just was like, I'm going. I can't do this.
What area?
From 10 to get onto. Frick! I wish I would have pinpointed it.
There was like a 60 car pileup on this exit, and everyone's trying to go left, and there's so much traffic going both ways. It wasn't a one way. Just trying to go left when there's cars coming from both directions, and there's like trailers and campers. So it's just everyone's sitting there. I was probably there for 45 minutes.
You guys can be very vague with how you answer this question because I have to answer it and I don't want to incriminate myself. But what did you guys do with your trash? Because I had an all-time moment with my trash.
I was a responsible citizen and did not dump mine the way everyone else did. I took it home. I threw it away in the dumpster.
Mine rode all the way back into town and dropped it off in dumpster in town.
I dropped it off in my own personal apartment dumpster. And it smelled terrible.
Yeah, because yours was the leaky bag.
Yeah, the back of my truck smelled for like 4 days.
So you guys couldn't have done what I did, but let's just say I didn't make it more than
I asked you
5 minutes
that's
away.
Why I
I'm
took
not
it home.
Going to say the location, but went to the spot we've done it before, one time before. And remind you, we just had one bag, but it was like a big bag, double bag, huge. And we pull up and it's gated. The dumpster is gated. It's tall. It's like I don't know if it's probably like at least 8-9 feet tall. So you have to get it over the fence, and there's a dumpster on the other side, but only one half is open. The half closest to you, the other side is shut. And I'm not going to incriminate her. I looked at who I was and I was like, I think I can throw this. Like, I think I can get this over. So I grab it, just here, shot put sky high, like barely clears the fence, maybe like 9.5 feet. Splash, Kobe Bryant, dead bottom of the trash can. The feeling that I had when that went in, and then getting in the car and being like, oh my God, if that missed and it all exploded, like I'd feel so bad. But it was just the best shot of anything I've ever done in my entire life that it went in that dumpster. It was
I need
fantastic.
to ask a question real quick before I forget. Did
Yeah.
the porta potty guy call anybody?
No.
Did you get charged? Did you get charged?
Yeah.
You did? All right.
Yeah.
I've been kind of stressing about that because I got a call from Traverse City while I was in the middle of a meeting on
That's probably it.
on Tuesday. So I was like, oh, he has already gotten that. Like, I'll call it back. Called the number back. No answer. Never heard again. So I was like, man, that would be not good if that porta potty was still just sitting out there.
Yeah.
If they couldn't get it, they would do something about it.
As long as you got charged, I'm assuming they took it.
Yeah, they did on Thursday though. I think when they drop off, they charged it, but it worked out. I mean, once we use it, it's their problem.
I hope they locked the gate.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
It's pretty easy. You just leave it how you found it.
I mean, it's their property anyways. It belongs to the
town
city.
of Kingsley's.
Sorry, Evan. Did you have anything else?
Just the ride home sucked. I stopped at like a gas station, and it was the slowest pump in America. The slowest pump in America. Took forever to fill up. Then this past week, just getting ready, busy, getting ready for the school year.
Getting ready to score some more points this season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Starts next Monday, Alex. Starts next
Just
year.
need 3 points
Fall
to
camp.
score more.
I'd score more than that.
But you're full in on practice, right? They're like
Full on practice starts next Monday.
full swing.
What?
We started a week
What about
earlier for
summer
school.
camp?
It's middle school football. There's no summer camp.
Summer camp. I remember yugging water and playing Rainbow Road before practice in the middle of the summer before 7th grade practice.
That doesn't exist anymore. There is like a Indian camp, like a school Indian athletic camp for like 3 days.
You guys don't remember throwing up the
Yes.
first day of 7th grade football?
I
That was
remember.
not, school was not in session.
I remember Jimmy.
Right,
Jimmy was a lock.
Jimmy puked every time.
Right.
Disgusting.
Other than that, I had a good last weekend of summer. Played in a golf scramble on Saturday.
Did you just declare summer over?
My
Yeah, you
summer
did.
is over.
September.
No, my summer is over.
After Labor Day.
No, my summer is over.
Memorial Day to Labor Day, Evan.
School starts
Evan.
tomorrow.
You have to go to school tomorrow?
School starts tomorrow for me.
What?
I am working tomorrow
Can't wait
at
for
school.
Indian hour.
Tomorrow.
Michigan public schools changed to go
Yep.
before
Yes,
Labor
where
Day.
have you been, dude?
Yes.
I
Big
haven't been in
Gretch.
high school, Grant.
Alex, you're alumni. You're alumni to your high school. Start school tomorrow.
Everyone's
Oh,
an
God.
alumni to some school.
Yeah, but your alumni, your school starts tomorrow.
I did see that the teachers were there, but I thought they were just there a week early.
Nope, I was there. last
You
year.
were in that picture.
For
Yeah.
happy hour.
Find it.
When the kids aren't in, the teachers get crazy together.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing.
Meet anybody new?
No, Alex. Actually,
I'm
yes.
sure there'll be new
Not
students.
yet. Oh, I
Jesus.
got a
I
girlfriend.
didn't say a word to her.
Oh, so she was
She listens.
a looker.
Let's guess her name. Ellie.
Nope.
Mommy.
So Evan's summer is over.
My summer is
That
over.
depressing to hear.
Yep.
Pour one out.
Other than that, that was about it.
these pictures?
What picture are you looking at? Let me see. I'll tell you.
There's a
what exactly.
picture of everybody in the cafeteria. Where
Yeah,
did
I
you
was
see
there.
it?
I'm in the back. I don't know if I'm actually in that picture.
Right or left?
I don't know where that camera angle is from.
Evan didn't want to be in it. There's no
And
chance.
what side
Evan
of
was
the
like, "I'll just go
cafeteria
where I
were
can't
you
be
on,
seen."
and what were you wearing?
I was wearing
Khakis.
no. I was wearing
Wearing
black
khakis.
shorts and a gray T-shirt.
With a hat?
I was not wearing a hat.
Some guys wearing black shorts with a gray T-shirt and a hat.
I was not wearing a hat.
You're not at that table.
Oh, I see what
Camping
picture
trip,
you're
like you
picturing.
guys said. I would say camping trip was pretty par for the course of what I was expecting. Great crew.
Pretty
Shout out to
subdued.
everybody. Everybody that went. Shout out to you. Great crew. Good time. Subpar weather, but we got through.
Grant, last year's weather was way worse.
I wasn't there, so for me, I've only experienced great weather
I
up
honestly
there.
don't even remember the weather being bad. That like 2 hours of pouring rain was not that bad.
It was like 4 hours of pouring rain.
It went fast.
2.5.
We had a good time during it.
It was like 2 to.
All I know is Evan kept
2:30
going
to
an
5.
hour and a half more, and I'm like, oh my god.
It was not that long.
It was 2 hours. Two and a
No,
half
it wasn't.
hours.
We played a wiffle ball game after that in beautiful sunshine.
We finished our beer Olympics
I
and
didn't
then played
see, see
wiffle
a
ball.
rainbow though.
The rain didn't even
A
happen.
grand slam. On the way home from camping trip, my story, besides the trash, was, look, I know inflation's a big deal in this country and a hot button issue, but it's really extended to Taco Bell. Taco Bell's prices have gotten out of control officially.
Spending $20 anytime I go there.
Ordered, just listen to this, only ordered 3 cheesy gordita crunches. Now 2 of them were upgrades to chicken because I'm a fancy and I wanted some chicken. Also, I don't understand why chicken is that much more expensive than ground beef. I don't get that. They're both...
isn't beef.
Okay, fair. But I get that, and I think maybe 1 Baja Blast, because it was a KFC Taco Bell combo, so we got a little bit from KFC as well. That KFC also, wherever we stopped at, was the worst KFC of all time. It was disgusting. It was like if the worst person in America tried to make chicken, it was dried out, nasty. Besides the point, the total for 3 of those gordita crunches and a Baja Blast was like $22, and I almost spit out my non-existent drink. I was like, there's no chance that is that much money. Alex and I used to go all the time and get more than that, and I'd pay him like $15-16, and I would get more food than that. I just don't know what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. Saturday, when we saw Alex, went to the Woodward Dream Cruise for the first time ever. That was a cool event. I'm not a car guy, but a lot of cool cars. There's no denying that. Do I have the desire to go drive one now? Not really, or like own one? No. But cool to see them. It's insane how much people in this community care about cars.
Zoo in the berm.
Biggest car show ever, like anywhere.
It's just
in the
so
world.
ridiculous. I saw a guy from the local news station. I'm not sure what channel. He was riding in a car that was open, like top open, sitting on the back of it while driving, interviewing people driving next to him down Woodward while I'm behind him.
That's insane they let that happen, but that's pretty cool.
Like, ridiculous. Like, people don't care this much about it, but I should know because people bring out their lawn chairs every single weekend and sit and just watch cars drive by in Woodward. Just normal cars like you or me driving down the street. People just line up down the street.
I was
Blows
in the
my
Dream
mind.
Cruise for like less than a mile. I was in it. I was on the far right lane of Woodward, just trying to get off as fast as I could because I was out of place in my Honda Accord.
This is not a parade. It's just a road that people drive on.
The actual watching Woodward is boring. The walking like down Old Woodward where it shut off was cool because like I had all the cars lined up, stationary
There
in
is
parking
cool
spots,
stuff.
and a bunch of vendors. Marissa and I also, we were down there because we were making candles, doing some I guess they're like fall activities before football really starts. I actually can't knock it because I do love candles. And I made a nice manly candle. Smells like a fresh aftershave. I had done it before, but we really rushed through the process this time. The crazy thing is they tell you, Alex, this is where we went wrong the first time. They tell you now that you're not supposed to light it for 2 weeks after you make it.
I lit mine the next day.
She said minimum 3 days, but you should let it sit 2 weeks or it won't be as strong. No crap. We all complained last time. The only bad part was we couldn't really smell our scents. So now we know why.
I just
So mine's
finished mine up like a couple months ago.
Damn, that's impressive. I tried to make mine smell like yours because I liked yours.
Thanks, man.
Bought tickets to Michigan State, Washington, which you'll hear in the Chief game. Front row.
Now, if it was
Section
the
106.
Central, you could have gotten those for cheap.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
No.
The cheapest ones were probably like $80, and that's just like, I don't want to sit that far. At least this is front row of the upper bowl. That should be not terrible.
Yeah, Evan, they're right above us.
Nice. You're sitting with Washington fans.
Yeah, you guys are
Oh
in the
my
Washington
God.
section.
That's probably why they were. Oh, they'll be nice people, though. So
We'll find out.
Stoked for that. I'm addicted to tennis. Got a new tennis hobby because there's 2 courts here at the apartment complex. I think we played 3 times in 1 week. It's humbling. It's very taxing on your body. I never thought of tennis players as like the most extreme athletes, and they're not overall, but like it's really tough to play when it's really hot out. So stay tuned for that. I'm getting better slowly. Don't have much of a backhand at all. I'll basically run across court to try to hit with my forehand, so I don't have to hit with my backhand at this point.
Backhanding is very tough for tennis. I feel like it's
I just don't
muscles
like
you just don't really use much.
It's their obliques, which like
You're just not doing that motion in your everyday life to like feel good about it.
correct consistently. I can do it like a one-off, but I can't do it over and over. And then lastly, we have the fantasy football draft coming up, which I'm very excited about. I'm sure you guys are as well. I want to do one thing where you give one tip to our listeners for fantasy football coming up, because I'm sure they all have drafts coming up as well. One tip that you found helpful throughout the years. Who'd like to start?
I'll go first.
Okay.
This is a no-brainer. But find guys who are on the field a lot. High snap count guys. They'll find the ball. Find those people. Look at snap counts. Get in the weeds with it. Especially when you're looking for like rookies and you're like, oh, that guy had 20 points last week, but he had 1 catch for 1 touchdown. You don't want that guy. You want the guy that's on the field.
Evan?
Tip to drafting or tip to fantasy football in general?
Whatever you want. It could be drafting. I know we do auctions, which is the superior way to do it, but if
It is.
It's a little hard
for
to
that,
discuss.
keep ranking.
Yeah. Spend your money, kids. That's Evan's tip.
I do spend my money.
I know. That's why I said it. Only one person left money on the board last year. I found out today.
I would say don't spend big money on a quarterback. I never typically do.
Evan took.
Um,
Go ahead.
it's one of those things where they are
actually does that still.
a lot of people still do. A lot of people people that are like borderline fantasy
That's
football
a
players.
fake
draft too.
They'll draft a quarterback in the first round. Don't draft a quarterback until late.
Our dads think quarterbacks are the key.
Don't spend a lot of money on a quarterback. You'd rather have a solid depth at wide receiver and running back than one good quarterback. I'll take my 2 running backs over my 1 quarterback.
There's 1 to 2 quarterbacks worth the price of admission.
No.
Yeah,
There's 0.
There is.
My point to Evan's point, in recent history, I won our league when Ryan Tannehill was my starting quarterback in the finals. And then the next year, I threw out Kyler Murray as the first draft option for like $25, thinking someone would go higher because he was the hot thing that year. And I got him. And I think I came in 5th place that year because I had like a quarterback and it sucked. And then this past year, Cam drafted Matthew Stafford for me, and he got hurt, obviously. And I don't know who was my quarterback at the end of the day, but it didn't matter because I made the finals, lost. But when I've done well, I've had a shitty quarterback or a streaming quarterback.
On that note, Patrick Mahomes carried me to the postseason one year and then put up 3 points in the semifinal, and I lost. So, yeah, I guess quarterbacks do stink.
Well, I hope people in our league aren't listening to this specific point because I'd like them to spend money on a quarterback early.
Ricky will do it.
Yeah, he's going after Kenny Pickett.
I'm going to bid him up. 75.
Mine
You get stuff with him.
Mine would be. I'm just going to give away. I don't care. I'm doing our listeners a favor. I'm a proponent of running backs are super overrated. Especially if you're a PPR like us, I would just target wide receivers and pull together scraps from the running back heap. Maybe get one good one, but after that, whatever happens. And also, it's hard for me to say because Alex is the same way. We just trade our whole teams anyways after draft day. So I was like, I don't really know.
I would also say just don't fall in love with players. Be willing to trade anybody.
They're expendable objects.
Everyone,
you'll never meet them.
Everybody is expendable. Everybody.
Yeah, Alex traded away Justin Jefferson last year to me.
For a win. I had to do it for a win, and I got one.
And I got rid of Jamar Chase. I mean, you just flip-flop people all around.
And then he got hurt when I had him. You know, things
got traded. I don't know. I traded a lot of good players last year. All right. So, let you know how it goes after this draft. Good luck to everyone in their drafts, and try to avoid the end of preseason injuries or training camp injuries.
What are you wearing, Evan?
You know what we have to wear.
I know. I was just curious about what you're wearing.
Is anyone going to wear a vest?
I'm not wearing a vest.
Like, are you wearing the full suit, tie, matching pants, the full shebang as the commissioner?
I don't own a suit.
Are you
I'm a sports coat. And
not matching pants guy. Yes.
Well, you can match black with black.
Yeah, or you could wear different colors, my point.
I might wear gray top.
Oh, you have a gray blazer.
Yeah.
That is sexy.
I really want a blue suit. That's what I really want.
I just got one.
I really want a blue.
Very nice. I don't think I'll wear that, but
yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to wear.
All right, news and notes again, kind of flying through these here. First one that has happened since is Jameson Williams. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to talk about him here and hopefully not have to speak about him until we see him play on a game. I really do not want to talk about him anymore after this segment because I'm just tired of it. I have JMO fatigue, but he did injure himself. He hurt his hamstring, and he's going to be done for the preseason, obviously. And he's going to potentially, I think they're going to find a loophole, but there's murmurs that he cannot receive treatment from our team doctor since he's suspended. I think they'll find a loophole because that seems pretty messed up to do, but we'll see what happens. Your guys' thoughts on JMO as a whole, this instance? Evan, I want to hear from you because you've probably been the most advocate throwing around the bust word, which it's getting hard to argue against at this point. I'm not going to say it yet, but you can't live in La La Land forever. So, Evan, what did you think when you saw this news hit your feet?
Injury, it's something where he can't, it's not really his fault. It happened. He pulled his hamstring. Probably grade 3 hamstring pull. Shut him down for the preseason. Obviously, I would say that he would be back before that just because it's a hamstring injury, but he is serving his 6-game suspension. Plenty of time for him to heal, but also plenty of time not to get game speed ready. But he was kind of game speed ready last year when he showed up. He scored a touchdown the first game and blown coverage. And I think it's going to be one of those things where you might as well use him before we're going to lose him. This is year 2 with him. He's going to be out with more games than he did play. I don't think he's going to get his 5th-year option. So you're going to have him for 2 more years after this. And if he gets hurt in his 4th year, he gets hurt in his 4th year. So let him run the table for the last 11 games that we have on this regular season. Throw him into the fire and, catch the ball and run, dude. You are worth the whatever we got him at, 11 or 12, I think. 15 or 16,
12,
something like that. So
it's top 12, I think.
He needs to make an immediate impact when he gets back, and everybody will forget about his suspension. If he's the second best wide receiver on our team in the last 11 games, everybody will forget about his suspension. He's out for the first game against the Chiefs, and it sounds like Chris Jones is going to be out for the Chiefs, so, I'll take it.
Jackson Smith and Jigba might be out when we play Seattle. Anyways, I, 3, am very over the whole thing. I mean, I pounded the table for JMO when we drafted him, so now it's getting difficult to continue to do that. Agree with Evan. It's not... injuries happen, whatever. Go ahead.
My last point is I basically don't even see him as a Lion. Because we really truly never see him. So we're doing great without him. So
two plays.
Correct. Trust me, it was awesome to see him score that first touchdown because we were there.
The Green Bay touchdown would have been electric
if it didn't get called back. Yes, for a hands to the face.
That was
never
very excited for a good 10 seconds, I was flipping out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just don't see him like basically as a Lion. I just see him as somebody.
I think for all of us, like, yes, this is all annoying, blah, blah, blah. But like Evan said, once he's healthy and he's contributing and doing what he's supposed to do, assuming he will, no promises at this point, then yeah, you won't remember any of this. I mean, you might remember it, but it's not going to matter. The problem is, how many setbacks can you have before it gets to the point where Brad and Dan don't want you?
I don't think they can give up on him.
Head into a fifth year. They can't because of the capital, but at the same time,
they don't have to sign him to a fifth year, correct? Like I said, but like they can't give him up on after this year. They're just stuck with him because of the draft capital.
Week 7, right? It's a 6-game suspension.
Yeah,
he comes back week 7 and gets injured like right away, and then is done for the year. Like, yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen at that point. Could be it. Like, they'll obviously give him a chance, but it's giving me like Kadarius Toney vibes.
Mm.
Like, you have like 4 flash in the pans, but like ultimately you're always just not there.
Like, what's the % chance in your mind right now that
he's a bust?
I'm just gonna put an arbitrary label on it because I don't know. Like, we got to put a number on it that like he's gonna have 1,000-yard season with the Lions.
26% chance.
I was gonna say 30. It's not good.
Yeah, no,
it can't be because we haven't seen anything.
I'm hanging at 50-50 because I don't want to give up, but like. And also, like,
the comments from coaches aren't great either.
No, and like this particular instance was like annoying me because I had the initial reaction too. So I should say I have a fan brain where they're like, "Oh, he was going to miss these 6 games anyway, so what does it matter if he's hurt?" Like, I do understand the point, but then as much as we made fun of him, Alex Caputo, your guy, he did write a pretty spicy article saying at this point the pick that was made for him is an indefensible pick, and he's not wrong. And I saw him catching slack from people on Twitter being like, Caputo, you're such a hater. Like, what do you mean? It's like, no, he laid out a very thing. Like, Christian Watson went at pick 34, which is a pick we gave up to get J-Mo. And Christian Watson, I would love to have Christian Watson healthy to go on this team this year. He would impact us trying to win a Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
And he was at pick 34. You look at the guys who went in front of J-Mo, nothing you could do, but Garrett Wilson and Olave going in front hurts. Jahan Dotson going at 16th. Kyle Hamilton, Jordan Davis going right after. There's just impact players that would be helping this team make a push for the NFC Championship game from the jump, that we just have to wait on this pick at 12, that we have no clue, that we're probably less than 50% chance that we actually think he'll do anything long-term with his team. And it sucks. It does suck because you see it on paper and he could be a top 12 talent at wide receiver in this league easily with the gifts that he has. But it's like the mix of doing dumb things and also the injury. Like, you're not going to ever bake in an injury with someone, but the ACL injury, and then he's hurt both hamstrings in camp already because he hurt his other one and missed a couple practices, and then he hurt this one, and it's even worse. So I just don't know what to think.
Spin zone. Because we need him. Not every player that we draft from Alabama is like that.
Right.
We have a good one that will contribute as a rookie.
2.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah.
And some, well, yeah, they're both better.
Oh, yeah.
I'd argue Jahmyr Gibbs is Jameson Williams, but better. So maybe we'll just all forget about him and we'll just associate the 2 as one.
The thing is, we can never forget because it was such a ballsy move in the draft where you gave up a lot to go get this guy, and he's done nothing.
We're still, as we talked about with Chief in the hot seat discussion, still early.
The one thing that Evan said makes me feel better about J-Mo is he kind of is like a plug-and-play guy, assuming he's remotely healthy, is that you don't even have to have him catch passes, but just like run deep routes to open the cushion underneath for Amon-Ra and Laporta and whatnot. Like, just draw attention because of how fast you are as you get acclimated in week 7, 8, 9. That's why I think I said in our group chat that I'm not going to really try to judge him until week 13, which I know is almost the end of the season. But like, if he has a slow first few games after week 7, it's like you kind of expect. But the crazy thing is, we're going to be like, all right, year 3 is like the first year we're excited for JMO, and it's like
we are not going to talk about him in the offseason next year if he does nothing again this year. We'll talk about him, but it won't be like excited. It'll just be like, all right, whatever, we have him. We don't know what he is, which sucks. But
yeah,
here's the hoping that it'll be all right.
Here's the hoping. To other Lions news quickly, preseason games don't mean anything. People were dragging Teddy Bridgewater, but our backup offensive line's trash, so like who cares? Jack Campbell is rated out very good on PFF. He's been playing a lot. He's been leading the team in tackles. I'm kind of trying to get a feel for whether or not he's going to start over Derek Barnes, but if he wins the job, he'll take over the job soon enough. I want to see Jack Campbell play, but if Derek Barnes has earned it in the coach's eyes, fine, so be it. I think Jack Campbell, it'll be his job eventually.
They're both going to play a lot. So
I wrote down sign Jason Moore. I don't know who Jason Moore is, but we signed him because we need wide receiver depth. And then Brian Branch hit because that was still a show from the Giants game. But the tweet today that Alex was alluding to from Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online, this sounds sick. I would have loved to have been there for this. The Lions did a live tackling game today, essentially, just at practice between two teams.
Football game.
1s and 1s. And his takeaway was that Brian Branch might be the best defensive player on the team, which is stunning to think. Like,
so he's already better than CJ
and Hutchinson, and
that is like awesome news. Like, some people will be like, "Oh, maybe we should be worried the rest of the defense stinks." No, I think this is a massive positive.
Yeah, I'm taking this as he's just that good,
just straight
that,
dog.
Like other people are bad.
You guys saw the video of Brad Holmes reacting when that hit happened, right?
No, I did not see it.
Yeah,
he basically didn't even react. He was just like, "Yeah, no, we see that a lot." So that's just how you know, like, he's just straight dog.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So I guess he's going to be interesting.
There's going to be an odd man out that we were probably expecting to play, but if this kid's legit, he's legit.
Our first 2 series on like defense is just going to be seeing who's actually like on the field, not even like what the plays are happening.
Tracy Walker is not starting for this team.
I don't think he will, just because of. Well, I don't think Kirby Joseph will.
He was our best defensive player 2 years ago.
Well, here's what they can do.
I don't think Kirby Joseph will start.
I do.
I don't think he's fast enough.
They like to do this thing where whatchamacallit?
He's not as big.
They do like the NASCAR package. They have like 5 down linemen and then 1 linebacker. So Tracy could be the other linebacker in that case, since he's a bigger guy.
And he can hit
and tackles better.
But Brian Branch can hit and cover
and CJ
and play quarterback. So Brian Branch is the best player on this team.
He's our Swiss Army knife on defense.
I'm excited.
He's like Honey Badger. He's going to be a game changer.
I knew he was that guy when he stayed for day 2 of the draft. People don't do that. And when he walked out, I was like, this guy's going to be awesome.
You really wanted Kyle Hamilton instead of JMO, but Brian Branch is going to be better than Kyle Hamilton, so why not have both?
I see what you're doing there, but they're kind of like apples and oranges.
No, they both play a Swiss Army knife role.
Domino effect of we could have used the pick for something else, though.
Yeah, JMO when he scores 15 touchdowns next season. And Brian Branch when he's the best defensive player in the league. He's going to be like a
fantasy wide receiver.
Buda Baker, Honey Badger.
Buda Baker's about to be a free agent, or we could just trade for Buda Baker if we wanted to.
No, our safeties are better than him.
I'll give him up Kirby Joseph.
Yeah, I would too. Sorry, Kirby.
Sorry.
Buda's a guy.
Payne Thorne was named starting quarterback for Auburn. Evan, thoughts?
Love to hear it. That's my quarterback. Starting quarterback in the SEC, baby. I did look at the schedule. The first game is UMass. Ew. So that's a cakewalk.
Chief was talking not nicely about Peyton Thorne, and your coward ass did not say a word about your allegiance to Peyton Thorne, and I thought that was just
he was going on comical. A little rant about he was comparing.
I wanted you to say something.
No, he was saying how the quarterbacks have to compare to Peyton Thorne and like the SEC, like the coaches had to stand up to like their decision. Peyton Thorne outperforms in Auburn.
He also said that Thorne throwing 4 picks against Minnesota was a joke and he should have been benched. And you sat there and said nothing.
He left the game.
We left the game. Like anything could have happened in the second half, and I would have agreed to it. Alex, we were
Just
upset
thought
after
you'd
the
defend your
first
guy.
quarter.
Just thought you would defend your guy a little more.
Look,
so I hope he listens to this whole show, hears this segment, and then is like, wow.
Payton Thorne is my
I've
guy.
been really
Michigan
coward
State
about.
would guarantee to win 8 games this upcoming year if Payton Thorne was the starting quarterback.
You're out of your mind.
No, that's just a fact.
If you think Michigan State is going to win 5 games, which you've said on the record multiple times,
Yes.
you're thinking in your head that Payton Thorne is a +3 wins for this team.
For this roster, yeah, absolutely.
Did you watch him play quarterback last year?
Yeah.
The same team that won 5 games in an easier schedule. And he played every single game.
It wasn't all his fault.
He's not, yes, Evan, because he's not a guy that can win you an additional 3 games. And you know it.
I can't.
Well, thank God that he freaking played against Washington because he was the only reason we were still in the game.
Yeah, thank God it was an L, and it doesn't matter. Chalk it up.
Because the defense didn't show up.
Listen,
play calling still ass.
Payton Thorne is not a +3
He
win
would
guy.
guarantee he would guarantee 8 wins.
You're out of your
Because you have a quarterback battle between all the games. If he was still the starting quarterback,
yeah,
you wouldn't be losing the
why
quarterback
did we win-
matchups.
Why did we win 5 games last year, Evan?
Because the entire
With an easier
Washington
schedule
was bad.
So what changed?
You're right. Nothing.
Yeah.
Jay Johnson didn't get fired. We
So
got
then we should win
got
2
worse
games.
at quarterback. We got worse at
So we
quarterback.
should win 2. You need to change your prediction. We're going 2-10. Because Payton Thorne's a 3-win guy, so drop 3 wins. We lost him.
We got worse
We
on
were 5-7
our
last
offense is a lot worse, but our defense is better.
So 2. So
Our
3
top 3 offensive guys from last year are gone. We're winning 5 games. We already automatically win 3 because of Rutgers, Richmond, and Central. We're already at 3 wins.
If Payton Thorne was on this team, we're not winning 8 games.
We're winning 8
We're going to
games.
win 8 games. We're going to win 8 games this year because the quarterback was better.
Payton
than
Thorne
Payton
was
Thorne.
on the team, we would guarantee winning games.
this is what will prove it. Besides
This
the
is
Iron Bowl,
delusional.
we need Peyton Thorne to keep
I
the
hope he plays
job
well.
going into week 4 because look at this gauntlet.
Dude, it is miserable.
has
It is
at-
murder's row. Well, Texas A&M's over.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M's overrated. He can win that game.
They got a lot of
Jimbo
talent.
Fisher's the biggest fraud.
at 12th man home versus the Georgia Bulldogs.
Ow.
He's going to be so in that game. I cannot
week.
wait to watch that
Wait,
football game.
wait.
It's gonna be on. It's
Bye
not gonna be
week.
on CBS. It's gonna be on ESPN. It's gonna be 7:00 ESPN game.
Damn. Can't wait for that game.
So he gets
Buckle
those
up.
2 bye week at Death Valley LSU Tigers out of the bye
Jaden
week.
Daniels, Heisman
Dead.
Trophy winner this year.
That.
And then home versus Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is
4 ranked
winnable.
opponents in a row.
yeah, they don't have a defense. He can light them up on his
He
little
never
dunk
Georgia
downs
bye
where he
week
misses the
LSU.
tight end across the middle.
I need
and
to
then
see
it's
He's gonna go
good.
2 and 2 of those
games.
games, Grant. He's gonna go 2 and 2. He's gonna lose to Georgia and LSU, but he's gonna beat Texas A&M and Ole Miss.
For any Payton Thorne loyalists out there,
I have no
I would
idea about Auburn's roster, so I have no idea.
I would just point you in the direction of Payton Thorne's first game fully healthy against Western Michigan last year, specifically the final drive of the second half. The guy is not a +3 win quarterback guy,
+3
and everyone knows it.
for this Michigan State
You're
team.
not
He's
that guy,
+3
pal.
with the quarterbacks that we have.
You don't know that, Evan.
Haha.
We'll find out. I'm excited to see this play out. I'm glad he won the job.
I am super happy for him. He looks awesome.
No, I'm
They
happy
had
for
a
him.
new
He made
car
the right
deal
decision.
going on. I saw on his Instagram.
Badass
He's
truck.
Because he
leaking that
wouldn't have won the job.
bag too. I wonder if he has a burger down there. Anyways, sorry. MSU liquor sales. We talked about that with Chiefs, so we don't need to spend too much time, but very exciting overall. Did the Big House get it as well, and I just missed it, or was it
It
only for Michigan State so
Whitmer
far?
said
Whitmer
for
passed
the
it.
state of Michigan.
University
But
has to
you're-
get in running.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
I'm
never going
sure
to.
they're
I don't
not
go to
gonna
games
do
there,
that.
though, so it doesn't matter. It simply does not matter. I watch those games on
You sell
TV.
one beer for the 100,000 people, you're making money.
No, Evan,
Oh
they had
my God,
102% attendance last year. You didn't see?
Oh, I forgot. They had 125,000 people in their
They had
stadium.
102%. They had more fans than seats last year.
Jim Branson finally gave up his 15 spots he took up.
The season tickets. The season. Wait, what? I'll listen,
that
I'll
was
listen
the
back. I didn't
meanest
hear.
fat joke I've ever heard.
All right, well, I'm gonna leave it in. He defended both.
We're getting off the rails.
Last year, if you had season tickets to Michigan, had to be the worst year in history to have season tickets. There was like zero there was only like one or two marquee games, and they were blowouts. Like there was nothing fun about season tickets last year. If you
Your
were a
best
Michigan
game was the
fan.
noon Illinois game.
And like nobody was there because it was miserable weather.
It was.
And the best game was Penn State, and they won by like 25. So
The night game versus
That's
Hawaii
just
was awesome,
gross.
wasn't it?
who could forget? With JJ,
Sorry,
won
it
the
was not.
competition.
People were not getting out of their parking spot until like 1 or 2 a.m. of that game.
We're not
Tweet
talking about
of-
the Tigers.
Tweet of the week, Jerry DiNardo. I just wanted to toot you guys up a little
I've
bit.
met Jerry.
He-
I've had a conversation
did-
with Jerry.
I kissed him.
How was it?
He's a really nice guy.
I'm not seeing the tweet right now, but basically he said that on their Big Ten tour, Michigan State was the most improved team that they had seen. Does that get you guys going for this season or no?
My simple answer would be last year when they went to training camp, we had 5 offensive linemen healthy, and we couldn't even go, we couldn't do 11v11. So I'm sure it looked better when you had like a full team. Like it's.
You're saying they didn't.
I'm saying
there was a lot to improve on.
the bar was so low what they saw last year to what they saw this year. Like it simply could not have been worse.
DiNardo goes, holy shit, Mel, you got a full football
Holy
team.
shit, you have guys here this year practicing? That is something new.
Jots down his notebook. Very improved. Potentially most improved.
It's good to hear. I hope like the defense really
Certainly
is most
positive.
improved. Our depth there on defense. I'm looking forward to our defense. Offense, not so much.
Michigan State's going to be sneaky talented and big this year. It's the most talent and size that this roster has seen in some time.
Sneaky and big.
Mm.
All right.
Size-wise, I saw a tweet that
Girth.
the average size of our D-line last year was like 6'3", 275, and now it's like 6'5", 305.
That's because Mel Tucker has his little body chart.
Yep. 2 inches and 20 pounds is nothing to scoff at. That
2 inches is
makes a difference.
ginormous.
It's almost, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to go down that road of other famous people that had extreme requirements for
Listen, it might
human
not
appearance.
work. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it works. I'm just going to say, at least like when you walk into a football game, you're not like size intimidated. Like there's nothing
You guys
worse.
look good off the bus.
There's
you guys look good off
nothing
the
worse
bus.
in high school basketball when we get off the bus and we look at the other team and we're like, holy, we have no chance tonight.
Austin Davis, coach, how am I going to get up there?
No, they were not scary. They had one guy. It's more so the Lincolns of the world. Freshman year, you guys don't remember when we got off and they're all 6'5" and we're all 5'4"?
They were dunking in like warm-ups.
Yeah,
and we're like,
we're
coach,
like,
that's illegal.
We
Tee 'em up.
can't do this. Like you lose the game before it starts. At least Michigan State is big enough where that's not going to happen.
Hell yeah. Quickly, we talked about with Chief again. Common theme here about Harbaugh's he is suspended now, right? Alex, I did not correct that. He was not suspended because the NCAA didn't know what they were doing and said, "I don't think we can do this." So it got kicked down the road. So Michigan decided they're going to suspend Harbaugh. I think this is going to lead to him getting suspended like 2 more games next year. I'm going to be pissed if that happens because this should be it. What they're doing this year. If Irby got suspended 3 games for Zach Smith's problems, and it was a self-ban by Ohio State, this should be enough.
As tired as you guys are about JMO, I am more tired about this bullshit Jim Harbaugh suspension during the preseason because it doesn't even matter. It's all a waste of time.
Grant, let's say you don't.
No one should waste.
Grant, let's say you don't make the playoffs somehow. Would you rather just have
going to the
Jim
NFL. I'm just kidding.
Would you rather have Jim just get suspended for the bowl game?
Oh, hell yes. Bowl games
Grant
besides
doesn't
playoff don't
think
matter.
bowl games matter.
Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl.
During the
The
Rose
Peach Bowl
he
victory
gets
did not
suspended.
matter.
Peach Bowl did matter.
The Rose Bowl might be a playoff game this year.
Not
I
to
feel like
Grant.
we're due.
Okay.
Peach Bowl victory did not matter to Grant. Everyone remember that.
Correct, because no good players played.
Payne Thorne did.
That's not true, but the marquee
No,
guys.
Peyton Thorne's not a Spartan.
He'll be playing in that stadium on December, whatever day it is.
For what?
The SEC
The Senior
championship
Bowl?
game.
In an actual football sense, though, this suspension, I like this because when he got suspended by the NCAA, a lot of the reports out of camp was the players and staff was using that as fuel, kind of like Tom Brady a la Deflategate, just like, this is bullshit, we're going to use it to fuel us. Then that all went away, and I felt, I kept seeing quotes about the team looking cocky, saying we're going to be blah, blah, blah this, blah, blah, blah that. Let's humble ourselves a little bit. Self-imposed suspension. I think they can still convince themselves that it's the NCAA making them do that. They'll be pissed off. I like teams that have an edge. We'll get to this next week when we get into predictions of our teams. I'm a little in an uncomfortable spot with this Michigan team, so I like this little bit of adversity going into the season. That's what I enjoy.
App State, baby.
Alex doesn't want to talk about this, but the Tigers are absolutely raking the young core of Green, Torque, and Carpenter. It's very exciting to watch.
Alex, you're not
I actually
watching.
tuned into a
Alex,
game
Torkelson
last
is
night.
on a
I watched
tear.
the Cubs game.
Listen,
it's awesome.
I'm happy for the young guys.
Torkelson is on a tear
on the management and the ownership of this franchise.
Well, we have a new guy in charge. Did he mess up the trade deadline? Yes,
he
but
absolutely butchered the trade deadline. So now I already don't have faith in him.
Crazy stat from August 20th. 2 days ago, the Tigers have a better chance of reaching the postseason than either the Yankees or the Angels, according to the playoff odds from ESPN. That's absurd to say at this point. They're not going to make the playoffs, but at least we're better than those teams.
Did you guys see that our new GM traded a guy that threw a no-hitter a week later?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Happens.
sure.
And then didn't get rid of the guy that we needed to get rid of?
Circumstances. Well, we don't have a GM. He's VP baseball operations.
I laugh every time I see Torque Bomb in the chat.
Alex, you love JD Martinez, right? You were a big fan of his.
Huge JD guy.
Stat that I saw watching the broadcast, little intel I picked up from tuning in. Bally Sports wanted to mute because he stinks, besides the point. The stat was that Torque is the first Tiger since JD Martinez in 2015 to have 8 home runs over a 12-game span. So he's on a historic tear for this franchise.
He's tied for first in the majors in home runs since June 1st. His hard hit percentage has gone up 10 points since June 1st. He leads major leagues in home runs on breaking balls.
That's awesome.
I'm not against the development of our young guys, so I'm happy.
Else, we're all just going to get Torque Bomb tattoos.
Not just development.
You know what I hate? Losing.
We're budding stars.
I hate losing.
Staff
and we keep
is
losing.
all on ice.
Like all these Torque Bombs, and then I look at the final score and we lost 8-7. So it's just
also
disheartening.
Wild that not going to get into it too deep, but objectively, wish Austin the best. Insane that his brother has played in a Tigers uniform more recently than Austin Meadows had. That was crazy watching that. I was like, oh, that's
2 for 3
He's in the MLB.
Called out.
Good for him. He got hosed last night in the game. Called him out on a pitch that was way outside the strike zone. Felt bad for the kid in his debut.
What are we 7 games back still?
Yeah, we're not making the playoffs, but we're going to probably finish with a better record than last year, which is a huge testament to this team because we were all down on them going into this year. So credit to this team for battling.
They still suck. Not their fault.
They still suck.
It's the ownership.
All right. Joining us now on this week's show, a special guest, a repeat guest. We were talking before you joined, Chief, that we think outside of our friends that we just have come on, you are the first repeat guest that we've had. So that's something. That's an honor. Wanted to get you on before football season started. So without further ado, you know him as, I would call him the king of Michigan State Twitter. I think that's fair to say, at Odell Brenham Jr., Chief of Propaganda. Welcome on.
Thank you for the very nice introduction. Yeah, it's a tremendous honor that I'm the first repeat guest that isn't in your friend group. So definitely adding that to my Twitter bio.
There we go.
LinkedIn page maybe as well. Maybe throw that on there too. Evan, I'm going to leave it to you. You had some spicy questions in the show doc that you want to get off your chest. I want you to go for it.
You better start with that.
I want you to take the shingles off. No, you don't have to. You can ask whatever you want.
Let's do it.
Get into it.
You want to start with the first question? Okay, my first question is, when or how is Jay Johnson going to get fired?
You know, that I was not expecting that. I thought you were going to ask who the quarterback's going to be.
Well, that's an easy question.
So, you know what? To answer your question, I think it's going to come down to the quarterback. Like, if you go with, because obviously, like, the narrative right now is Peyton Thorne's gone. He's starting at Auburn. That's kind of the narrative right now. And whoever Michigan State plays, they have to be either equal to or better than Peyton Thorne. So I think if they, depending who they go with, that I think the quarterback's going to get him fired. Like, I think that it's that simple. And it sounds like we're going to have a really good defensive line this year. So the offense isn't putting up 25, 30 points a game. I don't see him coming back next year.
We had 2 haters.
I like Jay Johnson. Like, I think
No,
his work in
I don't think
2021
so.
was really good. I just think last year, like, some of the play calling, I think the loyalty to Peyton Thorne was kind of befuddling to me. I don't know if, like, if you guys watched, like, the Minnesota game where he had, like, 4 turnovers and they kept trotting him out there, and then he's saying after the game, I'm injured, and they wouldn't play a different quarterback. I'm thinking, like, man, what does he have blackmail on the coaches or something? So, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I think everyone's job's on the line this year, for being honest.
Yeah, I'm a noted Kim Sanity guy. Also a Michigan fan. I should remind for those listeners that Chief pulls in, so I'm the one Michigan fan of the show. I love Kim Sanity. I am looking forward to hopefully seeing more snaps of him this year. Separate question, totally different 180. Your Twitter account, saw this recently. Your bookmarks folders. I'm a huge bookmarks guy. I love that you have it sorted out. Is that a feature of Twitter Blue? Because I don't think we have that ability.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I have about 11 or 12 different folders, subfolders there. So yeah, I got some pretty good ammo. Yeah, the one that I shared is probably the most like family friendly one. So I just kept it at that one.
There's got to be one called.
Listen, that folder would be. He said something today. I think he predicted like Michigan State's going to go 4-8, and the biggest upset of the year is going to be Iowa winning at the whiteout. So that folder, if it existed, would be much larger today.
Do you have a estimation of how many tweets you think you have bookmarked sitting here in August?
About like, okay, in general, it's got to be like a couple hundred. I mean, a lot of them are like snippets of like, I like music. So if I like hear like a Travis Scott snippet or a Kanye snippet or something, like I'll just like bookmark that. But sports wise, yeah, that my fingers are tired. I'll just say that. It's almost like you see these accounts with thousands of people that they blocked. That's me, but with bookmarks.
Yeah.
Do you personally have anybody blocked? Are you a blocker on Twitter or on X?
Yeah, I'm still getting used to that. I try not to. It's only when somebody goes like so above and beyond that they're just like seemingly a bad person. Or I know I blocked a lot of people back in 2019 when the Red Wings were kind of going through the process of potentially bringing back Steve Yzerman. So every time I would Twitter search like Yzerman's name, it would just be a bunch of accounts called Yzerman fan, Yzer plan, and all this stuff. So anybody with Yzerman in their name, I block them just so I can like only see tweets with like actually Steve Yzerman content.
Very interesting. So good for those people if they're listening to know that it wasn't personal. You just had
No.
a wrong name, wrong time.
Just needed to figure some things out.
Yeah, I just had a track of Yzerman.
I'm curious from your connections to the program. Congratulations on going to the jersey reveal event. That looked like a fantastic event.
Dude, it was so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah. Talk about that if you want for a little bit, because that's what, I mean, I'm excited to see those jerseys in action this year.
Incredible.
Yeah, so I'll preface it by saying in general, I'm not a fan of like black uniforms. I just don't think they look all that great. I think in theory, they're always better. I think really the one that stood out to me in the past is the Detroit Lions one. I think it was in 2007. I think that's like the top Lions jersey ever. But so yeah, when I got invited to the event, I just got a DM saying like, hey, it's going to be this day, this place, this time. Don't tell anybody. Like, okay, I can do that. So then, yeah, we show up, and it was at the Wharton Center at Michigan State, and that's my first time in there. And they just kind of had like the athletic director talk, Mel Tucker talk, and in the room they had donors, they had social media people, they had current players, former players, and families. So it was pretty intimate setting there, and yeah, they just started unveiling of different stuff, and then they kind of did this old Steve Jobs one more thing, and yeah, they brought out the jerseys and were able to get some pretty up close looks at them, and they did a really nice job.
Do you wear a mask around these people? Because you got to keep your identity. So how do you go about that?
Yeah, so that was interesting because you had people that were trying to figure out like who I was that night from different sections of Twitter. So they were comparing pictures that I posted to pictures they saw of people in the background. So apparently like 17 different people are actually me now. But no, I didn't wear a mask there. I was just there with like, we got to bring like a +1. So I brought one of my best friends from back home, and I knew most of the guys and girls that were invited as, like, they call them social media influencers. Kind of to detest the word influencer, but yeah. So I've met those people before, so they knew who I was, and yeah, it was just a really cool event. And I tried not to let like the anonymity thing get in the way of having a good time, because obviously it's a fine line of wanting to stay anonymous, but also trying to enjoy like the cool things that have been offered to me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you plan to be anonymous forever? Sorry, Evan, but I know.
I actually don't. I mean, people can. Yeah, I don't plan to stay anonymous forever. Maybe I'll do the unveiling on your show one day, but we'll see.
You big clicks.
Wow. Huge.
Yeah, if I do it, I'll do it on your show. That's a promise.
Deal. Sounds like a plan.
Done.
Huge.
I guess based off of the event, when are we going to first see the black uniforms on the field?
Ooh,
or when do you think they're going to show up?
I mean, I would love it to be the Michigan game. I would love to just like black out the woodshed at night, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I guess when do you guys want to see them?
There, but
Washington.
I would like to see Washington.
First, like, primetime game, like Central, it'd be like start off the season with a bang, but you want to save those for kind of a bigger moment. No disrespect to Central Michigan, but I mean, I think the Washington game, to me, that's probably the most important game of the Mel Tucker tenure outside of the Michigan game in 2021. Like, if you win that game, it could catapult you to 9-10 wins potentially, but you lose, and there's going to be some interesting conversations being had.
That leads me into a question. It was actually a listener question last week, but I haven't asked Evan or Grant yet either. But the question was, do you think Michigan State is more likely to go 2-10 or 10-2? Just the complete extremes.
Okay, I'm in general, I'm a glass is full type person, like very optimistic, but if I'm being as honest as possible, 10-2. I just don't see it's just so hard for me to like see them only winning 2 games, but I guess I didn't see them only winning 5 last year, and honestly, it probably could have been 3. Yeah, that's tough. I'm gonna lean 10-2 just because I'm trying to stay positive for the season, but I'll go 10-2.
Evan, I need to hear your answer too while we're at it.
More realistic. I have us hovering around 500, but I guess 10-2 would be more realistic because you have a chance to upset some teams. You should have beat Indiana last year. Maryland, the offense didn't show up. You did beat Illinois. You beat Wisconsin. So I would say 10-2 if you're more optimistic.
Michigan fan Grant?
This is
He's
tough.
laughing.
I don't want to give. I looked at the schedule today like a sicko because I was.
This was from a Michigan fan, by the way. The question, and he said it was obvious 2-10.
Was it from Cody with a K?
No.
Oh, the slot
Ben V.
Okay.
No, brother.
I was looking, and there was like putting your guys' games in buckets of like what I would say really almost no chance to win to like 50-50 to like should win. And based on going through that, I feel like I have to say 10-2 because there's at least 3 wins on there, like at the bare minimum. So that would rule out 2-10. So I guess I'd say 10-2. But
you'd have to. You have to say 10-2. So I think that's the only correct answer. So I think everyone got it right.
All right, good for us. We passed. I got a question. I was going to ask, selfishly, a defensive question later on for Alex and Evan, but I want to ask you, Chief, and Alex and Evan, you can go as well after him. It's a game called Fill in the Blank. I only have one prompt. Best player on MSU defense this year will be
Malik Spencer.
Malik Spencer. I don't know who that is. Can you fill me in?
So he's a safety.
And,
I believe he's from Beaufort, Georgia. He was a freshman
I like
last year.
that.
He came. He was very. He was sought after, but he's kind of like one of those Georgia 3-stars where he's right on the fringe of getting the Georgia offer, but they probably took like 5 stars over him. So we got
tough.
down there, and he came in, and he was injured most of the year, but he's the guy that you hear his name through practice all the time. He's starting at strong safety this year, and he actually had an interview today, and he said he's going to be an All-American at the end of the year. So he's very, very confident young man. He's kind of got that dog in him as a defensive back. So I'm going to trust his word.
Well, yeah, it's hard to top. I would not have said that.
Another unheralded 3-star recruit from Georgia, Kamar Baldwin for the Butler Bulldogs. So I like what Malik Spencer has going for him. Kamar was one of the best players in program history.
I remember the Butler thing.
Oh yeah, he should still be in the NBA, but
I'll never forgive Butler for their crimes against Michigan State. But
There was a foul.
Alex, they bring
a
it up
foul
all
in
the time.
Drew Memory.
I wasn't a fan at that time,
It
so
was a
I
foul.
claim ignorance, but it was a foul. Alex, go ahead with the best player on MSU defense will be.
I think the easy answer would be Jacoby Windman. So I'll go with that one because that seems safe.
Nice.
I'll let Evan
good answer.
I'll let Evan get deep in the bag if he wants to.
Deep in my bag. I don't really.
Can't get deeper than Malik Spencer
Ben
probably.
Van
So.
Sumeren. Oh, you can't
No.
say that this year.
Can't say that. I mean, I could pay just a safe one. I'm gonna say Simeon Barrow,
Oh, that's a good one too. Good player.
defensive
I
tackle,
do
leading
like
that
him.
front line, run stuff.
A little tidbit on him is a lot of teams around the country tried to get him to go to the portal in the spring or even in the winter. So he's very highly thought of in the college football community.
But it's a good tidbit.
So that's a good pick. I like that pick.
Well, thanks for
Grant,
sticking
what's your
around.
answer?
I'm
Because like
gonna
4 players
go-
on the defense. So
Well,
let's
if we're
see.
not doing Marquis Lowry, he's the obvious answer. I don't know if Chief probably doesn't know that inside joke. That's a deep cut. That Marquis Lowry is potentially the most attractive man in college football.
Oh, listen, he's beautiful. He looks like that. There was that magazine years ago of what the ideal human's going to look like in like 40 years. That's Marquis Lowry. He's a good-looking man.
Everyone agrees.
I got one flashy name that I just like the kid, and he thought he'd go to Michigan for a little bit, would be Dylan Tatum. I don't know if he actually will be the best player. That seems like a stretch, but I just like him, so I'm going to throw that out there.
Yeah, it sounds like he could potentially be starting here, and local kid. So that's always kind of
Upside pick.
a notch
You never know.
out there. Yeah, I like that one.
Now, the real question that I think we have been beating around the bush and we haven't asked. Who's going to start week 1? And who's going to start week 13?
I mean, so okay, let's say if I was the offensive coordinator, if I was Mel Tucker, to me, I think the decision is relatively easy. If it's anywhere like unless Noah Kim is worlds better than Caden Hauser, I would be going with Caden Hauser. I just don't see why you wouldn't go with your own guy and going with somebody who listen, Noah Kim, when he's played, he's played well. Like he's come out, he's slung the ball around, but at the end of the day, like how many quarterbacks can Mel Tucker play that aren't his? Like Rocky Lombardi, Coach D'Antonio, Peyton Thorne, Coach D'Antonio, now potentially Noah Kim. Like you're starting to sense a trend here where Mel's not necessarily getting his own guy, and that's not a bad thing, but can only rely on that for so long. So yeah, I would go with Caden Hauser, but I think as we were recording this, I saw earlier that Justin Thin from 247 at Michigan State put out that he's projecting right now that Kim starts game 1. So whether they copy Jim Harbaugh and kind of do the platoon or each guy splits a half, it'll be interesting.
And that's what we
Yeah.
kind of talked about last week. We talked about how I'm in favor of not even naming a starter until the Washington game. You should beat Central. You should beat Richmond. Would you want them to do where one starts one game and one starts the other, or would you rather have them both play in both games?
I can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth, but Jim Harbaugh was right. And the way he handled the quarterback situation last year, like looking back on it, it was perfect. Like I joked about it. I called it Mickey Mouse. I called it just like all this like goofy stuff. But listen, there was a clear winner in that competition. I think even I forgot what the first game was, but when you saw like JJ come in, like he was so much clearly better than Cade McNamara in those snaps. Like it made the decision a no-brainer. I would like to see Michigan State do that. Do I think Mel Tucker is going to do that? Probably not. He just very vanilla with everything. So I actually respect what Harbaugh did there, and I hope that might get clipped and everything, but it's the truth. Listen, it was a ballsy move and it paid off. You got to respect it.
Yeah. Little pro tip for MSU fans: do not boo whoever loses the battle in the third quarter of the game that they're stinking in. Do not do that, because that was tough look for everyone involved. But people at the game were booing Cade McNamara. The kid deserved better than that.
Well, that's why he's gone.
He won the first Big Ten championship in 20 years.
And he hurt his knee that game too, I think, later. I have to pull receipts for Alex and Evan because they were laughing during that whole stretch. As a Michigan fan, I just kept saying, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but it made those cupcake games fun to watch because the stakes felt higher. Like this year, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to watch more than like 3 snaps live of the Michigan games.
Basically like preseason.
There's nothing to look for, really. I mean, new guys that you want to see play, but there's no drama. So at least you guys have that going into this year, which can be good, but also can be bad depending on how it goes.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, does Mel Tucker kind of copy that formula? And listen, you could look down the road to another rival, Ohio State. What are they going to do? Are they going to do a similar thing where both guys get snaps? Like, did Jim Harbaugh start a new trend of how to pick a quarterback? I don't know.
This is a lot of Harbaugh praise from you.
It makes me sick.
Well, it took him enough years to find one, so I guess he was bound to find one eventually.
Do you think he deserved the suspension? Yeah, let's ask your thoughts on that so you can rebound and say something mean about him.
Oh, Alex froze for me. I think he was about to ask you if Harbaugh deserved the suspension.
You know what? I would not. I'm going to say yes, just because it's Jim Harbaugh. But in terms of, I'm going to take my Michigan State hat off here for a second. If I'm the University of Michigan, there's no way I'm self-imposing anything. I think the NCAA is toothless, and if they want to try to come down with something, I would let it happen in 2024, because right this season, I mean, Michigan is either the favorite, second favorite to win the national championship, and I would try to avoid any sort of distraction possible. So yeah, I do think he should receive a very lengthy suspension, potentially the longest we've ever seen. But if I'm Michigan, I would not have self-imposed anything.
Yeah, I guess my thoughts on it, because we were going to talk about it later in the show, was from all the things that they had done wrong, like the past year or so, he probably did deserve to sit out at least 1 to 2 games for the Mozzie Smith neglect. Matt Weiss, still don't know what happened with that guy. I wonder what he's doing right now. Those 2 things happening. And then I was full on your side, Chief, of like, screw the NCAA, and still am. But then they must know that the NCAA was going to go harder next year. And they have, I think, Texas on the non-conference slate next year. And I think they're like, let's just do it this year and not have him have to sit out the Texas game. Assuming he doesn't go to the NFL, which will happen every offseason, the rumors. But that has to be what they were thinking, which I'm okay with, I guess, big picture wise.
Yeah, and I guess like the only question I would have as a Michigan fan would be, was this a unanimous decision? Like, it was hard because obviously you hear the rumors that Harbaugh and Ward Manuel, they don't get along, like they don't talk, all this stuff. But was this a unified decision, or is it going to cause tension? Because to me, that's going to play a pivotal role in kind of how, because he still doesn't have a contract. So I think it's fascinating. It's fascinating how seemingly poorly run their athletic department is, but how successful like the football team has been recently, the hockey team, basketball team outside of last year. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Less serious, what's your first alcoholic beverage at Spartan Stadium going to be?
You know what? I haven't seen. I know an account put out a list of beverages, but you know what? I'm kind of a seltzer guy. I don't know if that's like I don't know that you guys.
Oh, that place here. That place here.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're gonna have like high noons there, if you're gonna have Trulies, or kind of what they're gonna have. But I'll probably go with the seltzer. What are you guys gonna go with?
If the list is accurate, I'll get a Labatt.
Yeah,
I'm a
Solid.
seltzer guy. Seltzer guy for me.
The list is accurate as well. I'll probably can go Coors.
Solid.
Whatever
Good
pairs
old
best with
water.
melting moments.
Whoever pairs best with them. Bring back the turkey legs.
Yes. Have you guys
Deep
had there's a Sunny D seltzer that's phenomenal.
I think Alex is drinking it right now.
Alex got one.
Yes.
Dude, those are so good.
Good timing.
I was driving around every single store trying to find them when they first like came out. Finally got my head. I bought an ungodly amount of packs.
I'm sure they're dangerous. I've never, binge drink.
I've never had
drank
one. I'm
them,
going to
but
have to now.
they don't taste like alcohol.
No, they don't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Or not a problem. Depends.
Yeah, it depends what you're looking for.
Chief, are you surprised there hasn't been, or maybe there hasn't, I've missed it, but a replica of your account for Michigan or other college fan bases? And if there is ever to be one, are you going to do efforts to shut that account down?
No, I've actually seen somebody tried to do one with the Michigan account, and it actually seemed to be doing pretty well. I just think it kind of tailed off for a bit. I think the off season kind of it's difficult to come up with content. I saw that Dexter High School, they have a Dexter Chief of Propaganda. That was actually really funny. So yeah, I mean, if anybody else wants to like mimic it or copy it, like go for it. I think it's funny. Like to me, social media, like it's just fun. So I think all the arguing and the accounts mimicking each other and whatnot, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Someone not
Certainly
in the Michigan
entertaining.
fan base should start one. I would follow. I've been fiending for some content like that from the Michigan side.
Grant, you could
It's-
start
it's-
one.
It's
Yeah.
basically just the Detroit News and Free Press writers, so I guess we have that covered.
Blue wall.
Right. It's actually funny. I recently applied to be a community notes person on Twitter or X. So
What does that
very
mean?
unbiased sources myself. We'll get to if anybody puts out an article that isn't, I can add notes to it, so I can correct them.
So like
yeah,
when you
that's-
see like for example, Big Cat posted that like picture of the shark
Yep.
in the water yesterday for the hurricane, and someone like they wrote under it like this is not real, blah blah blah. That'll be
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, after Ted Cruz quote
Yeah, Ted
retweeted
Cruz
it
got
saying,
it.
"Be careful."
God, that was funny.
Yeah, that made community. Yeah, so like if a writer or something puts out an article saying like Michigan beat Michigan State or in basketball, I can community notes it and say no, this didn't happen or whatever.
This is not
So,
true.
I'm gonna lose privileges so fast. It might even result in my ban, but I'm gonna have some fun with it for sure.
But there'll at least be one or two great screenshots out there that will just live on forever of someone seeing it and taking a picture of it.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing some of the beat writers have blocked me, because I would have a field day just kind of messing with them, but unfortunately blocked by a handful of them.
Which ones have blocked you? We have one
Let me get on my
on this
list.
show that we're not a fan of, personally.
Chris Solari?
That'd be him. Yeah,
Ding, ding,
that's
ding.
him.
Yeah, oh, he's blocked me. It's funny. People send me like his articles and everything, and because I'm not subscribed to whatever he writes for, and he was like mentioning how he didn't get invited to the Jersey unveil. He's like, yeah, they just had propaganda there, and I'm like, oh, you got it, like, dude, at least unblock me if you're gonna like. And he was talking about, and he was like, he has a podcast apparently, and he's
Oh.
like, yeah, they have this propaganda going on. I'm like, dude, like. It's really like no fan account should live this rent free in your head.
No.
The clips of him and I need to go watch the tunnel stuff
tunnel.
because the
Tunnel?
clips
So
of him,
funny. Oh my
it's just like one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Dude, that's like the first time he's ever like broken news or done anything proactive, and he was like, credit to him, he got right in the middle. Like, listen, I don't have any hate for Chris Solari. I just think he's like, he just hates his job. It seems like, and it's just fun to like
He's not
kinda
very
go
good
at
at
him.
it.
No,
But
that's
Yeah.
true.
he has a job.
He adds
he's
character to
employed.
game day. He adds character to game day. I will give him that.
Certainly
Oh,
funny.
absolutely. And if I ever got into a fight, I would want him recording it. I'll say that.
Absolutely. Alex, Evan, any other football related ones?
I guess.
I know
I mean,
I
I guess
have some.
ask you like, who's going to win the Big Ten. And if you have a dark horse outside of probably like the top 3 favorite picks, if you have a dark horse, who would that be?
Yeah, to win the Big Ten, I just think it's like obviously Michigan, I think, is huge favorite, but I just think like them and Georgia, it's so hard to three-peat in anything. It's just going to be really tough. I could see Michigan draw like right now. I'm projecting it to be a 3-way tie between Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. And then obviously, I think Joe Klatt went over the tiebreakers. It comes down to opposing divisional rivals and all that. So right now, I think Penn State's going to win it. It's just I think they have ultimately the best roster overall, and I know I might get killed for saying that, but I just really love their defense, the running game. Drew Aller, I'm high on the offensive line. Just does that bozo coach just stay out of the
Bad
way?
coach.
Like that's what it comes down to for Penn State is like, can James Franklin just not be James Franklin for a couple games here? And if he doesn't, I think that they can win the Big Ten. And a sleeper team, you know what? I've been going back and forth on this. I think Wisconsin's interesting because obviously Luke Fickell, I think everyone knows he's a great coach. Tanner Mordecai's there. But going to the air raid offense is interesting. Like, can you do that in one offseason, kind of with what they've built and just kind of a ground and pound style team? Like, that's going to be interesting to see, like, what happens with Braylon Allen. So there's a lot of questions in Wisconsin, like Iowa. Don Thomas is giving them way too much love. I cannot, dude. I can't do it. Like, if it's an Iowa Michigan Big Ten championship, like, listen, I'm just gonna have to avoid the internet for a long time.
Give him the boot.
So yeah, I'm dancing around this question a bit, but if I had to go with a sleeper to win the Big Ten, man, I'm gonna go Purdue. I like their new coach. Like, it just seems like Purdue basketball. I hate their guts, but football, I've always had a soft spot. They always pull off this upset, whether it's Michigan State, Ohio State. They're always good for one. So, just let's go with them. Or honestly, I'm not sleeping on Brett Bielema. He spells his name wrong, but that man can coach football.
But we beat them last year, and we stunk. So
they're good, though.
Can you trust
good
them?
Football team. You
I
guys did.
Question. I don't
Go
know
ahead,
how
Alex.
we won that game. So obviously you see it. Everybody sees it. Mel Tucker's seat. He's on the hot seat, blah, blah, blah. USA Today just released an article. He was in that one for being on the hot seat. So my question to you is, if and when would you consider his seat warm?
This might be an unpopular answer, but if they win anything under 8 games, I think it should be hot. Like, I wouldn't even say warm. It's the fact that, and I think there's a lot of factors that go in play. Like, if he goes 6-6, 7-5 with Noah Kim, I think that says a lot. Like, okay, I was afraid to play my own guy, or my own guy I recruited, I couldn't develop him. And listen, at the end of the day, like, I know the contract number, it's always going to be talked about, but at some point, like, you're making $95 million. You got to start performing and getting results of a $95 million coach. And to me, you can't have back-to-back seasons of under 8 wins. Like, I'm not even asking for 10-2 right now. Just 8 wins. Like, what do you guys think?
I'm probably not that extreme, but
yeah, I'm definitely on the extreme side here from what I've gathered.
I try to think that, his first year was basically nothing. Like, that year was kind of a joke. So I don't really even count that. Maybe I should, but I don't.
Especially that win in Ann Arbor.
Oh, that counted.
That counts.
Right. And then Northwestern win counted too. But so then he, gets a flash in the pan running back that you'll never see again. So that's a hard season to judge because without him, who knows what we would have done. I'm sure we wouldn't have won 11 games. And then last year was terrible, and there's a lot of coaching decisions, but there's also 10,000 injuries. So I don't know how to view it. He's still, like, this year, it should be mostly his guys. So that excuse, I think, is out the window. But I would say he gets probably one more season after this one, regardless of how he does. And then I would start to question if we went If we went like 6-6 this year and went 6-6 again next year, there'd be big problems.
So I guess, Alex, my follow-up to you is him not willingly changing the coaching staff, like what happened with BT Jordan leaving. Obviously, that wasn't his call. Marco Coleman, him leaving, that was not Mel Tucker's call. He kept both his coordinators. He kept Ross Ells, who's been the most maligned assistant coach I've ever seen since.
We're not a fan of his.
And I witnessed it firsthand. He's
so like, how does, to me, that factors into how I view his upcoming season. Like, if you're going to go with another Mark D'Antonio quarterback, if you're going to keep all your coaches, to me, that signals like I need to win now.
I mean, yeah, it's a good point. And it kind of gives me nightmares of when D'Antonio just moved all his position coaches into different positions. And obviously that didn't work. So I do worry that maybe he's keeping his guys too long. But I do think if we were to go like 6-6 or 7-5 this year, I think he would, fire Jay Johnson for Evan, fire Scotty Hazelton for the rest of the fan base. Like if he did those things, I'd be willing to give him another year. If he didn't and he kept those guys again the next season, then there would be even more questions. Like I would start to be very concerned. But I don't think he would keep him around if we stunk this year. But I mean,
I think it's fascinating. I truly think like it could go either way. Like I don't know anything more than the average fan in terms of like what his job security is like, but I can see a world where they go 5-7 and they could potentially be looking at the biggest buyout in pro sport or college sports history. Like, I don't think it's that unrealistic. Like, think about it. Like,
no, I don't either.
Go ahead.
It depends on obviously the coaching carousel and like who's like, because
you would have to think about it.
Michigan State's not going to be afraid to spend. If they have to, they'll find the money and they'll go get someone if they need to. The schedule is just so tough this year. When you guys are talking about the assistant coaches, it's almost like it's kind of like when coaches in the NFL draft a QB young to like buy themselves some more time. Like him firing all his assistants if this year goes bad almost kind of resets the clock of optimism. Like, oh, we got rid of the other people. Like we'll be fine now. Maybe that buys him 2 more years. But this year's going to be tough because I'm looking at it now. There's like 8 games where it's like 50-50, like at best to win it. For at least four of them where it's more like 30% chance to win on paper. I mean, it just depends on what kind of team you guys end up having. But this year's going to be tough when it comes to like judging everything.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal, and that's another thing that's like, if you would have fired your assistants going into this season, I think there would have been some more leniency, at least in my opinion. And maybe I am extreme, but I mean, you're staring down the barrel at Washington, who's a national championship contender, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Minnesota's always tough, especially going there. Like it's going to be a tough atmosphere. You got Nebraska on there. It's never easy. It's just at Iowa. I mean, it's not unrealistic to think that this team could go 5-7 again. Like that, I hate saying it, but I'm trying to be positive here. But I mean, you can like when you talk through it, it's like okay, things start to add up.
Well, that does lead me to my last question then. In terms of a ceiling and a floor for this team, you kind of touched on it. What do you think realistically is our best record and also worst?
I would say this team could probably, because the defensive line is supposed to be one of the best they've had since 2017. And the offensive line has a lot of depth, and obviously they're not going to win the Joe Moore Award or anything, but I think that having those big hogs up front, you can win 8 or 9 games. I don't think that that's totally unrealistic, that you can steal one of those really tough games of, I think Washington's probably the most winnable of those, the big 4. And then you look at the floor, it's probably 5-7. I mean, you got a couple gimmies in there, but it's going to come down to that Washington game. I kind of mentioned that earlier. You lose that one, you got to play Maryland next, and that offense is built to beat Michigan State with the passing attack. So you could be looking at 2-2 record going into Iowa City.
Oh,
Listen,
brutal.
that's when it gets dicey. You lose that one. I don't know the rest of the schedule off the top of my head, but you're looking at 2-3. And
2-3 to start the year would just be.
You got bye week there. Then you got Rutgers to get right 3-3 going into Michigan.
Yeah, I'm gonna need us to be undefeated going into that game.
I think that also could happen. Like I can see a scenario where you beat Washington and you gain a ton of momentum, and you go into that Michigan game either undefeated or with one loss. Like I can see both sides there. What do you guys think? What do you think the floor and the ceiling are?
Evans is a little different than mine, so let's hear his first.
I mean, I'm around there. I mean, I like to think more realist there, where I'm not going to shoot for the stars and say, yeah, we're going 10-2. So I'm hovering around 8-4, and the low's probably 4-8. 8-4, and I think you touched on it earlier about how like the Washington game could be like a catapult, and I think the Washington game is just like the Miami game from 2 years ago. You're going into a big matchup. I know the other one was on the road and this one's at home, but non-conference matchup gets you ready for the rest of the season. And then you have the next 3 games we just talked about are like kind of like 50-50 games. Maryland 50-50 and Iowa 50-50. So you come out of those on top. I think 8-4, 7-5. I always am a big opponent of get to the bowl game so you get those extra practices for your team. But shoot out 11-8-4 win, 8-4 season, especially if you win over the Washington, because I think the Washington game is going to be like a top 5 atmosphere in, let's say, Alex and I's lifetime, just going to the games. So non-conference top 10 opponent coming there doesn't happen often. So
yeah,
I'll be there as well. And I think Michigan State has lost once when I've been there, and it was the LJ Scott screen against Ohio State. So that was kind of a win because it was like a 3-9 Michigan State team versus like a top 2 team in the country. So basically I've never lost when I've been there.
Yeah.
Was that the game where we ran the jet sweep from our own like 1 yard line? It was like safety or something, and Ohio State's punter won that game.
yeah, Ohio State's punter did win that game.
Yes, that did happen.
It was like a 9-3 game or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember and we should have won that game.
I think it was 17.
We went for 2 to win.
14-13.
With like
Yeah.
20
I remember
seconds
that.
left.
Yeah. It was bad.
LJ Scott took a like 70-yard touchdown right off to get the
Like the first drive. Yeah.
A slow developing misdirection that we tried to run against Michigan last year that works really well.
Oh, the 4th down play?
Yeah, that was a good one.
You gotta love a good. I tweeted about that. You gotta love a good shotgun, like 4th and 1 shotgun delayed handoff. Like there's nothing better.
That's like we did it like 3 times last year.
Chiefs on team no shotgun for 4th downs.
Never.
QB sneak always works.
Honestly, or 3rd downs.
Never do it.
Do the push. Like
You're allowed
what
to
did
now.
the Eagles? It was the Eagles this season with Jalen Hurts. They must do that.
Yeah.
I was joking that they should have done that every single play down the field. Like you can't. It's 45 yards every single time. And I think the NFL like outlawed that formation, but I loved it.
I have one more question. Sorry,
Go ahead, Evan. I was just going to say...
Oh.
One at a time, guys.
That's on me.
You told me to go.
I did. Because I said I had it, but I do want to get this in. I have the same thing you have, Evan, ceiling and floor, 8-4.
Yeah.
On the record, I do have Michigan State's win total over 5.5 wins, so I'll be pulling for that.
You
I bet you 4-8. Yes, I did.
You put significant dollars on that?
I ride for my friends. Now, but downside, I did already take Central plus 14.5. I'm expecting a little nail biter in game 1.
No.
Otherwise, we're taking 5.5 wins.
No, Grant, mentally I can't handle it.
A 10-point win.
Dude, nothing.
We deserve better than that.
The longest offseason probably in Michigan State football history. It's been. Has anything good happened? Like
uniforms.
I'm very positive. Yeah, the uniforms. Like
that's it.
If we didn't get a black uniform, like I mean, we're staring down.
Pretty grim.
Not good.
Well, Alex thinks that Nathan Carter's the next K9, so
he at least looks like it.
He's special. He's gonna have to be.
He's not. I said last week or 2 weeks ago. I said he would not be that good, but he'll be better than what we've had.
If he's like 50% of K9, I will.
That's pretty good. That's
I won't
probably
be
an
able to stand.
NFL back.
Yeah.
All right, Evan.
I guess my last question. We talked about the offense last week, so who do you have as your offensive MVP for this upcoming year?
Nice.
I I've said it's going to be Hauser, but just because I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, if I had to pick a different guy, I think it's going to be Malik Carr. It just apparently he's like 6'7" now. He's actually blocking, which has been the big negative on him. Is like
he doesn't block.
You got to block.
He does not block.
Apparently he's blocking now. So if he does that, and you have a quarterback that actually targets him, I mean, he should potentially. My hot take is he's going to be a day 2 NFL pick. He has the speed, the hands, the size to be that prototypical tight end in the NFL. So
like
I'm going to go
O.J.
Malik Carr.
Howard.
Yeah, he's just kind of, he doesn't wear gloves. Like, I love it. Like, it makes me nervous when he's running. I'm like, okay, he's going to fumble.
He doesn't look like he has great ball security. He's like running around like this.
I know, dude, I know. He's always like tripping over his own feet. And
he's a huge dude, though.
I know it's like he's wearing Crocs out there, but he's massive. And I would give a slight nod. A guy I would keep my eyes out for if I was a Michigan State fan is the freshman Jalen Barbarin. He's I forgot where he's from, but apparently he's the fastest guy on the team. Freshman running back. I think he's going to get a lot of use.
It's from Simeon Valley, California.
On the message board.
Love it.
So 2 Maliks. Malik Spencer on defense, Malik Carr on offense. I like that. 2 Maliks.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, that's a good call.
All right. Well, thank you as always, Chief. This was a blast. We'll have to have you on at some point during the season. Maybe we'll get you on for Hate Week. Get the people fired up.
Talk when we're undefeated going into that Michigan game.
Yeah, imagine the buzz on that.
I'm not sure X can handle that.
Listen, I hate when you call it that. No, I'll never get used to it. Yeah, no, I truly appreciate you guys for having me on. It's always a blast to talk with you guys. And yeah, if you guys are in East Lansing for a game, just let me know. We'll go grab some drinks or whatever and have a good time. And yeah, it should be a really fun season. But I do have a quick question for the 3 of you guys.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
What is your prediction for the Detroit Lions this season?
Nice.
We play 17 games now.
Yep.
12-5 playoff win.
Yeah.
At least one.
You should get a home one.
The win division. Yep. 12-5 feels right.
11-6, win the division, win a playoff game. I'm in the same boat.
I have us winning the division. Have no idea what our record's going to be. I think our division's kind of beat up on each other. And we're going to host a playoff game. Don't know what's going to happen in a playoff game.
If you win the division.
Correct, I know that. So that's my prediction. Finally win a division, finally host a playoff game.
Just don't run into Philly or San Francisco in the first round.
You know what? I do want to play San Francisco in the playoffs. I think the Brock Purdy thing to me, I'm over it. I just
think, Brock Purdy.
Dude, it drives me nuts. Like, obviously he had a great year last year. I just can't get on board with he's this franchise quarterback. Yeah, and I think 13-4 division win.
Yeah.
Maybe get the number 1 seed. And
are you gonna change your Twitter name?
I did. I'll send you guys some stuff I used to do for the Lions. I used to go to every training camp, all that stuff, and Lions. I love Lions the Lions. Oh, I absolutely am. It's just there's been no propaganda to pump out for.
I can't wait to see that X account come up.
Yeah, Patricia. He threatened to kick me and my friend out of training camp. That's a whole nother story.
Wow. What a
poncho wearing coach.
Right? Yeah, no one hates Matt Patricia more than Evan.
He was like, "Hey, you guys want to tell a story real quick?"
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah, so it was like his final year in camp. So they opened up training camp to the fans, and me and my buddy were there. We went to camps under Schwartz, Caldwell. We get there under Patricia, and he's riding around on his cart like a goober. And me and my friend were over there just taking pictures of the players on the field, and security comes up. They're like, "Coach Patricia is asking you guys to stop taking pictures." We're like, "What do you mean? Why can't we take pictures?" We're like, "Well, he doesn't want anything getting out to opposing teams." And my friend looks at him. He's like, "Do you really think I'm going to be the reason that the Green Bay Packers hang 50 on his trash ass defense?" and he got on the radio and called over another security guy, and they're like, "We're going to ask you guys to really just either you guys have to leave or put away the phones." And I called my friend down, and we kind of just went to go grab some drinks. But yeah, just apparently taking pictures is banned in Allen Park.
Well, only under Matt Patricia.
Only under Matt.
North
Yeah.
Korea. It's North Korea
Yeah.
out there.
He was about to have us running the hill, I was afraid. So
Oh yeah.
I think Matt Patricia, he's a domestic terrorist. That's
Oh, I can get behind that.
I could rant, dude. I could rant about Stan Van Gundy, Alavila, and Matt Patricia forever.
Yeah.
We don't
And
have
that'd be
it
like
great
a
here.
5-hour long episode.
And Chris Illich now.
See,
So,
this is why we
God.
need Central to be a breeze. We can't have more. Honest, we have enough.
backdoor cover. Backdoor cover. You're up
No.
17. They score. You win by 10. Everyone's happy.
Grant,
I can get over.
I
that.
don't think MSU fans can handle us not winning by like 30 that game. We're a very
The
delicate
first
fan
game,
base right
though,
now.
Chief, is never really a blowout. I've been to almost every single one in the last like 6 years on Labor
Yeah,
Day
we
weekend.
do
It's
always
just
stake
always
on that Friday
like,
night game.
Jordan Love almost went in there and shocked the world. Turns out they were a
Don't
great
remind
team.
me. Not for this. I still have nightmares of Jordan
This is
Love.
the fastest offense I've ever seen with how quick they got to the ball. We were like looking at each other in between plays, and the ball was being snapped.
Hey, they went 11-1.
That was
They
a
were
good.
good.
That was a great football team.
It was.
Just
Yeah.
Grant, you laugh
Great
now,
win.
but when Jordan Love does that same thing against the Lions this year to knock
I
us down
know.
to 13-4 and cost us a bye, we're
I
gonna.
know.
You guys are gonna bring that clip back.
I had a note for later. We all saw that Jane Reed touchdown. Jordan Love actually looked like he can throw a pretty good football. That made me nervous.
I told you
That
guys
was
that
the
he was going to be
dart.
pretty good.
Also, trust tree before Chief gets out of here is I would not be stunned if Michigan lost to East Carolina. I know that's loser talk,
Stop.
but this
You're a
feels like
loser.
Appalachian State type buzz, where like that team that lost to OSU returned Henny and Hart, and they lost to Appalachian State, and everything crumbled down.
So you watched
I-
the TikTok that Evan and I sent?
no,
You
Year
still
2000?
haven't
I
watched
lit.
that?
No, no.
Oh my god, dude.
Then,
Oh,
since,
Oh
we're
yeah,
doing
I
the
guess that
trust,
was your.
since we're doing the trust tree, can I admit something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rewatched the game, the clips, the highlights of TCU Michigan probably twice a week. Because I've had nothing to look forward to all
Yes.
off season. I'll just be sitting like
Great football game.
It was a
Get your
fantastic
morning
football
coffee, you know, nature calls, and I just throw on that clip, and it just
That is hilarious.
Roman
I
Wilson
love
was in though, right?
which
Yeah, he
time?
did score.
team.
The
He
first
scored
one.
later
I
in
mean,
the
it didn't matter, but
I-
the
you know
first, the first one.
To be honest, I think they marked him a little bit too close to the goal line. I thought he looked down like around the 2-yard line.
That's
But
I like that.
Listen, I know we're trying to wrap up, but what's with Harbaugh like goal line carries he did against Ohio State with, I forgot who it was, like some linebacker. He always gives the ball to some like
Yeah.
goofy guy at the goal line and it costs him games.
He's just
I
an
love
old
it.
school guy. He believes in fullbacks. He gave the ball to Ben Van Sumeren, Chief, and Ben Van Sumeren fumbled and then transferred out of Michigan. He just doesn't do things that make sense.
That's how you guys are going to lose to East Carolina.
Yeah,
You'd
you'd have to do that about 70 times. East Carolina is so bad.
They're like 5-7.
Grant, I hope you're
Grant.
right.
I mean, I'm just saying I would not be like the most stunned. I'm not.
Is that the first game?
Yeah.
So Michigan
Something
State
kind.
loses to Central. You guys lose to East Carolina. And then
Lions.
we'll all only have the Lions. Well, at least we have
And
that.
I'm picking up a adopted team, the Oregon State Beavers. So I will be cheering for the Beavers. The last year of the Pac-12, really pulling for my Beavers there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Any affiliation? You just
No,
Cool
I feel
uniforms.
sorry for them. I think they're cooler than Washington. I think they're cooler. I don't like Oregon. They stuff us in a trash can with recruiting, so over it.
Yeah,
Give me
they
the
did.
Beavers.
Go Beavers.
Go Beavers.
All right. Well, thank you as always, Chief. Have a fantastic night, and we will look forward to following along with you throughout this football season.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys for having me on.
College football. All right. Let's spend, 10, 15 minutes on this. I can go first with Michigan defense, then we
question.
will hit Michigan State defense questions. Let's fire them away.
Will Johnson, will he win the Jim Thorpe Award this year?
That's the best corner in college football.
Yes, Darquez Denard won it, just so you know.
Will he win it? Yeah, sure. Why not? I'll say yes.
Great. Who's your defensive coordinator this year?
Jesse Minter, year 2.
Year 2, so he did not leave like the other 5 defensive coordinators that have dipped.
Correct. That was
That's good
actually, I had
news.
notes. I had notes down for the big picture of this defense. If you guys go down memory lane with me to 2021, this team was built off of top end NFL talent in Hutch, Ajabo, and Daxton Hill. They all left. We went into last year, 2022, it was, hey, your defense is going to drop off because you lost the top tier. What we found out is that all the kind of gimmicky talk of a no-name starless defense by committee was kind of true. You lost your DC, you brought in Minter from the same kind of philosophy, both a coach at the Ravens, and they kind of plug and play. I think they ended up having more team sacks or total sacks last year than they did with Hutch and Ajabo because as a collective unit, they rose to the occasion. I don't know what this version is going to bring. I think it's going to be more of the well-rounded where there's no like high-end stars, maybe Will Johnson, but he's not an NFL prospect yet. So it's hard to view him in that light. Well, he can't leave. He can't go.
Year, he's 100%
right.
NFL prospect.
Yes. What makes me excited, as I had the theory, and I've seen other people smarter than me say it, is when it comes to your defense, your secondary is the most important thing in college football. You guys can attest to that with Michigan State. When they were at their absolute peak winning Rose Bowls, they had the no-fly zone. Because there's something where, like, even if you have good pass rushers, if you blow coverages in college football, which college kids are prone to do, you're screwed. Like, you can't overcome that if they give up an 80-yard bomb because a guy blew a post coverage. So I am excited about Michigan secondary. With that being said, because the only like thing that's not shored up in that back end is who is cornerback 2. And quite frankly, last year was like that as well, where Jamon Green was playing it and he got cooked almost every time in a big spot.
And cooked in the tunnel.
And that as well. But if you take away that spot, hopefully they have someone step up. But you're looking at Mike Sanders still, one of my favorite players of all time in a Michigan uniform. Rod Moore, Will Johnson, Makari Page, all guys that have been there, done that. Will Johnson, I do, like, to Alex's question, I'm very excited for him to play Marvin Harrison. I do think Marvin Harrison will have a couple splash plays on him, but I think if you dive in after that game's done, it'll be a very good battle between those two players.
No.
Alex, what do you
This is no offense to Will Johnson whatsoever, but I've seen some like Marvin Harrison Jr. practice clips of him just cooking these 5-star Ohio State DBs.
Yeah, but
DBU Grant. I mean, they have a lot of DBs in the league. A lot.
I can't think of the safety. Someone started with ransom from them last year. Guy can't tackle anything.
Okay, either way. And then just fun fact, Truth Circle we had earlier. I watched Marvin Harrison highlights like 2 nights ago. He's a freak. Like, I don't know if anybody can cover him at all. He is a freak, dude.
Johnson can probably go back and forth, but like I said, he's going to lose a couple. He might get mossed on a play.
He will.
Two, but
you cannot cover him.
If you look at the game last year, he had best coverage against of the group. Like DJ Turner did not do great. No one did great, but Will Johnson gave Marvin Harrison the most fits.
Sure.
Again, granted, still had a great game, but
like he's gotten better. He's a freak.
All right.
I just don't know how. I don't think anybody can cover him. And like, if we put our bias aside, we might not like Ohio State. Like, you should tune into their games just to watch him play. Because, like,
well, especially this year. I mean, we'll see what the quarterback situation is like, but he's probably going to be in some.
If we could trade JMO for him, that'd be good.
The only other things I had was they have a very deep defensive line, similar to what I've heard you guys say about Michigan State. There was a rumor in practice that the defensive line edged out the offensive line in a red zone drill, which was surprising to me because I know the offensive line is absolutely stacked with players. So that was encouraging, I would say. I didn't take that as a negative to the offensive line. I took that as a positive for Chris Jenkins. Will probably be the best player. Maybe Will Johnson. Those two will be the best players on the defense. Chris Jenkins will be probably the highest drafted player. Derek Moore, if I'm just going to get ahead of myself and say a guy I'm looking to break out this year as a sophomore, Derek Moore is a freak.
I've heard good things about him.
I think he will be a guy on the defensive line. And then I'm curious to see how this Nebraska transfer linebacker fits in. When we played them, he was flying around. I know Junior Colson will be the starting linebacker. I'm curious to see if it's Will Barrett mixed in more or he'll start to fade off for Ernest Hausman, the Nebraska kid. I want to see Ernest play more snaps because he looks like a freak.
I have a question for Evan.
Answer, Daily Double.
As a football aficionado coach, And leader. What unit, in your opinion, would you like to see winning in like 11 on 11 scrimmages? Like, would you rather see your defense dominating your offense in practice, or would you rather see the reverse? Like, what is like a better sign of a good football team? Because I've seen a lot of mixed opinions.
I would rather see the defenses completely, absolutely dominate. Because if your defense can't get like point of the attack and the basic fundamentals down, you can always scheme offense and change a couple things on offense. You can't really scheme too much on defense. It's basically, you can have blitz packages and coverage packages and like basic coverage stuffs. But if you don't have your Jimmy and Joes on defense, there's not too much you can do. You can scheme on offense. And it's a lot harder
to Michigan State in 2017 and 18 just abused Tyler O'Connor in practice every day. You would have been happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then abuse Justin Herbert in a bowl game and lose 7-6.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'd rather have the defense because I feel like offense is easier to progress throughout the year just because of play recognition, play reps, stuff like that. Obviously, defense you can still improve throughout the year, but you want to start hot to get the momentum going throughout the start of the year. It's hard to get confidence back after you're getting your shit kicked in for like the first.
I'd also say defense can keep you in a game, every game.
Yes.
If your defense stinks, just look at Michigan State.
A solid defense can get you to 7-5.
A bad defense you cannot keep up. So in Michigan's point, Grant, who'd you say won?
Defense won in the red zone drill.
That's good. Positive.
I think
because you had a good offense.
I think they're going to have the best defensive tackle duo that I've seen being a fan in a long time is what I think.
And I have
the names are Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham will be the two big boys in the middle.
One question for you, Grant.
Yes.
It's not X's and O's related. Who's the scariest person? Like, who should I fear for my life on Michigan's defense? Who do you just look at and you're like, holy fuck?
Chris Jenkins.
Is that the guy that choked out?
Don't mess with that guy.
No, that was Mike Morris.
Mike Morris, douche.
Chris Jenkins is like Mike Morris, but better, like times 3. He was like 300 pounds last year, and he just went on a crazy kind of like cut, and he's probably...
Are you worried he's too small?
He was on Bruce Feldman's... He's like top 5 on Bruce Feldman's freak list. That I love that list every year.
That's a good list. If you're on that list,
Chris Jenkins... He should be first round, I think. I think he's going to be like Michigan's Chris Jones because he's not. He's terrifying. Too big. He's too big to be off the edge, but he's a pass rusher at heart, and he was great as one of the best run defenders in the country already last year. I think he's going to. And Harbaugh praised him up as being one of the hardest workers on top of being like the best talent. So I think he's going to be a freak.
Just one side note, I hope Rayshon Benny is garbage for you guys.
He'll be a backup rotational. He played in the Ohio State game, so he's going to, but you hold that grudge, and I don't blame you. He was a pancake flip-flop.
Well, he just lied, and he did it for a bit, and it was a loser mentality. But Ben Van Sumner did that same stupid bit.
Sanders still coming back cannot be overstated enough for how big that was for this defense to have a leader, because he's like
the heart and soul
as like, I don't know, he's like a 5'9", 5'10".
He's a little dude.
Nickel. He's like CJ Gardner Johnson. He's like CJ. Yeah, he's like CJ GJ for Michigan. Light. All right. Any other questions? Or I have some for Michigan State's defense.
Hit him. Hit us with them.
Who is the linebacker next to Cal Halliday?
Jacoby Windman.
He's playing like stack.
He is not playing D-line at all. He's straight linebacker.
Jesus. Is that good or bad? Do we like that or we hate that?
Good if we sub him out on obvious.
We're worried about run stop. It's just like last year. Once our defense improved, we moved our linebackers back to normal positions. We worried about the run, stop the run first, figure out the second. Now, Washington game might change just because you're dealing with a different beast.
There are guys in the linebacker room that can play. So I don't.
Jordan Hall, freshman, you will see him on the field.
He's going to play a lot.
I would start him, and I would put Windman as an edge rusher, and I would start Jordan Hall.
I'm with you, Grant.
Just who cares? Do it. What's the worst Jacoby, freshman linebacker? He's got
Jacoby's way better than this. But could you imagine if we put Jacoby in the Chris Fry blitz role where he just gets like 7 sacks a year?
rips down a Michigan offensive player, 15-yard penalty at the end of the game.
You hated Chris Fry, but he was good for a sack every game.
Did you rewatch the Oregon-Michigan
Huge
State
for
game from
Coach Apparel.
2015 at home?
I haven't.
Chris Fry, I think, had like 8 tackles that game and like 2 sacks.
Yeah, he's a dog. Codes Apparel
And he
winner.
took the hardest Codes Apparel picture of all time.
Yeah, super awesome picture.
I'm going to go find it. It's a deep cut. Okay, let's say you guys are in a 4-2-5 formation. Who are your 5 defensive backs?
I don't think we're running a 4-2-5.
Everyone does on like passing downs, Alex. Please just play along with me.
Brantley
is one of the corners.
Dylan Tatum is going to be one of the 5. We got 5 DBs out there.
Yeah, you got 2 corners, safety, nickel, whatever, however you do it.
I'm going to say...
Gross is probably still going to play.
He's going to be in some packages. He stinks,
Mangum
but he'll play.
Played a little bit last year.
Mangum and Malik Spencer are going to be your safeties starting. Guaranteed.
So Tatum's like a nickel in this
Tatum's
case?
a nickel.
Tatum is the
outside
Darius
corner.
Snow extra outside.
He's like a chess piece.
Yep.
You just move him around.
The Jabril Peppers.
We're not
Yeah,
nearly
we'll call him
that
that.
athletic, but
I don't know who our next.
yeah, I mean, played running back in high school. And then we got
Do
Caleb
you have
Coley,
a CB2? Is that the same
Marky
question mark on
Lowry.
both teams?
Chester
Nice.
Kimbrough still around.
Don't know who our CB2 is. I'll be 100% honest with you, Grant.
I think it could be Dylan Tatum playing outside cornerback 2, just to put your athletes.
That leads into a question I had. I was going through your depth chart, and I was surprised that 2 of these guys. Do we know anything about Terry Roberts from Iowa or
he's a
Morian
transfer.
Smith from Cincinnati?
I forgot about
Could those
that.
guys play CB2? Those are good schools.
What numbers are
Terry
they?
Roberts is
They're
a
not even on
safety
our
and a
roster.
special teams
I don't
hero.
know.
Terry
They're on
Roberts is
our
like
lads.
one of the best special teams players in the Big Ten. If you just watch his tape, it's just him murdering people on punts.
He's not
That
on
doesn't
our
say much about
roster.
his coverage ability. Yeah, he is. I saw him practicing the other day. And the Cincinnati kid, I think he's like a younger guy, so I don't think he's like an experienced dude.
All right. I was just
No,
curious because those
guys are
caught
going to
my
be
eye.
special teams guys.
Oh, there's Terry Roberts.
People forget that Amir Speed is on the Patriots.
Unbelievable.
It's a wild thing.
Hasn't
He also got a 97 speed rating in Madden, which he's not. I mean,
It's the
he
last
didn't
name.
look that fast. He was huge though. He's got NFL size.
Scale 1 to 10, excitement level and impact that Chris Bogle's back from injury.
Got all the tools.
I think he's going to start as the. Ooh, he might start as strong side defensive end.
He has to. I mean, he's the most talented guy.
I'm saying he could start at weak side,
Second
Alex.
most.
Weak side's not his. But he did. He did.
Who you gonna start on the weak
What do you
side?
want to call it? He did model the jerseys.
Lele.
No, he's gonna. He's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna start. I'm not like. I don't know if he's there yet. He was. He had
But
a
the
terrible
excitement's
injury
big.
last year, but yeah, by middle of the season, I expect him to be doing some things.
You know about Bogle still?
Yeah, he had a bad injury last year.
Yeah, because I remember I was
Week
looking back
4.
at his
He only
stats.
played
They
like
weren't
4
bad.
games.
They weren't bad in the few games he played, and then I forgot that he.
I mean,
even
he was a
existed,
top 50
'cause
recruit in the country. He's one of the highest rated players in our team.
He's definitely flashier than the other Brule. Like there was Brule. and
Brule's a
there was Bogle.
linebacker.
I like Brule a lot.
I like Brule as
So
so
who's
that guy. Zion Young is the young guy on.
Zion Young is the one that was standing in the Michigan
He's
picture.
ginormous.
The 6'6" is like, this guy needs to get on the
He
field.
got suspended from that
Yep.
tunnel, but he played a little bit last year as a true freshman, and he showed some
Well,
serious things. He's
I just
Who's
read
up?
ESPN came out with Bai Jobe is going to win Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
Oh, I forgot.
Wow.
They might just put him in on passing situations like 3rd and longs. He might have a bunch of
Mhm.
sacks. He's a freak athlete. He doesn't know how to
Um,
play football though, so he can't
Oh
play.
my
more than
gosh,
one guy.
Jarrett Jackson. I forgot we got him.
Who's the guy? Harmon. He's supposed
Derek
to be like
Harmon.
defensive
Derek
line.
Harmon.
Harmon,
biggest
number
dude I've ever seen in
41,
my
Grant.
life.
Harmon, Burrow, and then our transfers coming in.
We have
Was he the one, Alex, in the Michigan game that you were not happy with, or was he good?
no. He's really good in the Michigan game.
Okay.
He was like bull rushing your center and getting to the
Harmon was
quarterback.
really good in Illinois too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Harmon, Barrow, the Florida State D tackle,
No.
the Liberty D tackle, and the Colorado D tackle. We have
and Maverick Hansen.
5 D tackles, 6 D tackles that have all played a lot.
What is the Liberty
I
transfer
just don't
team?
like.
Dre Butler. He went to Florida State first, I think.
No,
I'm not sure.
I
Jackson.
don't
is
like
the
women at
Florida State transfer.
off-ball linebacker.
You don't like
I
who?
don't like it.
Oh,
Windman at
Alex, our
off-ball
Tyson A&M
linebacker, I don't
defensive
like it.
end's got to play.
He'll start.
Because the craziest thing about Windman, Alex, is when we watched
Listen,
his
he made
UNLV
unbelievable
tape.
plays as a rusher.
Yes, and that's where I think he belongs. I think, sure, he's fine at linebacker.
I'm
but
with Grant.
I think he is looking out for
Selfish.
his
In the
own
game-
future, and
in the
he
game
wants to be in
that
the
I
NFL,
watched,
and he's not going to do that as a
he
defensive
can't-
end.
He's not going to do it as a
linebacker.
linebacker. He can't stay in front of Donovan Edwards.
Maybe in the offseason he cut some weight and got a little faster and can cover a little better.
Well, because his UNLV tape, he's a different guy. The UNLV tape, he's like, it's like a different human, the way he moved around. And then I saw him at Michigan State, like,
he
this
put
guy's
on a
huge.
lot
He
of
should be
weight.
edge rushing. So
He
should
put
edge
on
rush,
weight.
I think.
He put on weight last year in order to play defensive end, so he's probably in defensive end shape when we had to move him to linebacker because half our team got suspended. So I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing that his off-season conditioning this year was geared towards getting back to that linebacker shape, and I'm going to guess that he can cover a little better than he was against Michigan when he was playing linebacker out of need.
So I also think the balance on the defense is better if he edge rushes, because I think there's some questions on edge rusher. It has potential to be good, but we don't really have a sure name there. You put that there and then Cal at middle linebacker, so you have 2 sure names, and then
The whole
go
linebacker
from
room
there.
is sure to me.
Yeah, I'm saying,
I
but
trust the whole room.
why not take, if you like Hall, which I think we do, take the other sure guy, Windman, put him at edge, his strength probably, and then that way you don't have to like fill in one other spot on edge as a rotating cast until someone steps up.
Well, I think the team's hope is that you have 3 top 50 within the last 3 to 4 years, 3 top 50 edge rushers on your team.
Yeah, you're hoping for Yabi Oki, and then leave and file Biff Poggi to Charlotte. That's what you're looking for.
Yabioki.
Remember the kid that transferred to Michigan? He was at Alabama, then UTSA.
No, Grant, these
and then
aren't
Michigan.
all
He was like-
transfers.
Yeah, they are.
By Job is a true freshman top
Yeah, but
60
he's-
player in the country.
Right. But we're talking about guys who are going to see the field first, and that's probably going to be all the older guys that are transfers.
Bogle, who's been in the program.
Transfer.
Adelele.
Adelele, who's a young guy.
Bogle's a transfer. He's a
He
transfer.
left a dumpster fire because he realized Jimbo Fisher was a fraud.
So Brule's just not going to play.
Brule is a
I think he's gonna be on the
linebacker.
edge.
playing?
He's just not going to.
We're going to run a 4-3, and then he's going to be a third linebacker.
Oh. 4-3. All right.
We're not running a 4-2-5. We have the personnel to not do that. I mean, I'm sure you could argue that it looks like it. It's all semantics at that point.
We did the fill in the blank. I think you guys already agreed this is going to be a better unit than the offense. That's really all I had. I don't know if you guys have any other things that you wanted to shout out for this side of the ball.
I think this is the Scotty Hazelton redemption here. I really do.
Really?
I think Scotty Hazelton redeemed himself last year, halfway through the year.
Honestly, if as bad as the second half of last season was, because no one really cared and no one watched, the defense was good the second half of last year. With what they had on the field and the results they were producing with the absolute abysmal talent on the field, it was pretty good. And you brought in a Buffalo Bills secondary coach to be your secondary coach.
Hell yeah.
So
Fired secondary.
and he
coach.
coached
No one circles the wagons.
Tre'Davious White and Poyer and all those guys. So, I mean, he must be decent at his job.
All right. The very last things I had was college football is back this week. Going to introduce some more gambling into the show. I have USC minus 30.5. Now that
They're
I'm
playing
allowed
Spartans.
to. I love that play. Playing the Spartans of San Jose State. Just if Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman, you should win your first game by 40 points. That's the only thought process that went into that game.
I like that pick.
if you need to lock it in now, I did put my money where my mouth is with Luke Fickell. I have over 8.5 wins for Wisconsin this year.
I don't know Wisconsin's.
Don't know their schedule. Can't speak on it.
Quarterback.
Tanner Mordecai is
Tanner Mordecai.
SMU. Yeah,
is he good?
He slings the pigskin
he's
around.
Oh, he's gonna be sick. Also, this is stealing. I guess I could say this for next week, but right now on FanDuel, when I got it, Blake Corum's over under for rushing yards is 1,050. 1,050.
He's got one knee. Grant.
50 yards more than 1,000.
I think that's a trap line, Grant, because he's not the same guy. And there's another guy on your team that's better.
I think he's going to be a wide receiver.
That deserves more.
He's going to be a wide receiver.
3, 4, 5.
No, not in your offense.
6.
That's pretty much all.
Yeah, I would take the Blake Corum under, and I would take the Donovan Edwards over.
Oh, jeez, I don't think they offer.
I would take the Nathan Carter right now. Is that available?
No.
I would like to change whatever I said 2 weeks ago.
Premier running backs only.
Nathan Carter is going to take the first snap. He will be the starter, and he will get the bulk of carries. And Berger might be our third running back.
Wow.
That's my...
Harold Joyner, back from the clouds.
Harold Joyner plays linebacker.
No, Harold Joyner plays linebacker. Got moved from defensive back to linebacker.
Alex, he's just gonna do backflips.
No way he can't be a Chris Fry blitz guy.
So he was running back, defensive back, linebacker, but hanging on.
But most athletic dude I've ever seen in my life.
I think we should promise the people we've gotten a lot of questions about our scheduling. Should we commit to be back to a weekly show starting now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Evan Summers over. We're back.
Could have potentially busy times. We could have some subs between.
Yeah, we might have subs, but next week,
all of us.
The bulk of next week will be putting balls on the table, predictions for the college football teams, and then maybe diving into some Lions stuff. And then I do want to say this. There's been some pressure put on Alex for the hype video, which I think he should do. I'm going to make my case for not making a Michigan one because the program's gotten to the point where they're going to probably be in a big game later in the year, and I'd rather save my energy for that. Alex, I think you need to get yours out of the way now because there may not be any big games for your program.
Well, I was thinking, yes, make one, but maybe drop it before the Washington game. So I get a couple clips from the first 2 cupcake games so you can get some new guys in there. Because I'm going to be honest, I started last night, or not last night, 2 nights ago. The footage from last year is not great. There's not a lot
Widman,
to go off of.
Widman and Berger and
just those guys.
And Cal Holiday.
We have no quarterback in receiver highlights
Charles
available.
Brantley's pick 6 against Ohio State. Never forget.
Yep.
You can do a little fight night by Migos with a little interlude at the tunnel in there too to kill some time if you need to.
But we have no offensive highlights to go off.
Malik Carr, 50-yard catches.
Just him. And
you're going to have to do a lot of off-season, preseason picture montage.
Oh, we can't show Keon.
A lot of practice montage.
Yep.
That's why I need the first 2 games. I need the first 2 games.
Yeah. I think the listeners will accept that. They probably won't like the no Michigan one, but I don't care. I'm not. I think the Cody with a K and Ben are going to be mad. But what I saw last year was it was fine, but the Ohio State one and the playoff one are the ones that put butts in the seats, and maybe it'll blow up in my face, but there will be a big game at some point. With how easy their schedule is, I'll just make one before that game.
The Michigan fans do better because it's the Michigan State fans. It doesn't matter what it even looks like, I think. They do numbers.
Michigan State one will, it will.
All it takes is Chief of Prop to retweet that, 22,000 followers, and then it goes crazy. So shout out him for that.
All right. That is this week's show. Cheers to episode 129.
Cheers to football is back.
To football.